appreciate it.
Doors lead us to new opportunities. Your dedicated Fidelity advisor
For you, Mama.
can help you open those doors by proactively reviewing your entire portfolio with an eye on taxes and risk. Doors were meant to be opened.
Prime Big Deal Days is coming October 8th and 9th. With exclusive savings just for Prime members, you'll feel like a big deal. Shop deals on electronics, fashion, and more this Prime Big Deal Days, October 8th and 9th.
For the first time ever, it's Southeastern Conference football from Austin, Texas. And today, the #1 team in the country looks to stay undefeated as the Longhorns try to continue this party that started awfully early today in the state capital of Texas. And that party includes an invite to a Mississippi State program that is just 1-10 all-time against the #1 team in the country. The Longhorns come into this game with a ton of confidence, even though they've had to make some shuffles at the quarterback position. We will see a name on the back of the jersey that college football fans know well. Arch Manning makes his first SEC start for the Longhorns this afternoon. And here come the #1 Texas Longhorns. The eyes of Texas are not just on a college football playoff berth, they're on a national championship. And this fan base and this program continues running down a drain. Welcome to SEC football from Darrell K. Royal, Texas Memorial Stadium, presented by Sonic. Mississippi State trying to get right. The task is tall today. They're 5-touchdown underdogs against the #1 team in the country. 4-0, Texas, led by Steve Sarkisian. Let's get to down the field where the Texas head coach is standing by with Alyssa Lang.
Coach, about to kick off your first game in the SEC as a conference member. How do you want to see your team set the tone today?
Well, I want to make sure we start the game with good poise and composure. A lot of energy in the building, great poise, great composure, and execute the plan.
You told us yesterday that Arch would get the start. What about Quinn's recovery led to you to make that decision?
Well, I think Quinn is a really good player, and he can make it look really good. But I also know what 100% doesn't look like for him. And we got a long season to go. We're fortunate we got a great backup in Arch. He's going to play good football for us today.
What do you want to see from him today?
Playing efficient football, finding checkdowns, utilizing his legs, still taking those shots when they're there. He's an explosive player. We got to make sure we give him those opportunities.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
All right, Alyssa, thanks. Tom Hart alongside Cole Kublik. What a pleasure it is to be in Austin for this SEC debut for the Longhorns. And yeah, Texas has at its disposal one of the best quarterbacks in the country, Quinn Ewers. Cole, we're at practice yesterday. Ewers didn't take a single snap. It was all Arch Manning. So they're trying to make things easy for Arch, a guy who seemingly this game comes easy to.
Well, and I can tell you one way to make it easy is by having Jake Majors at center, a guy that has a lot of career starts, guy's played a lot of football and been a part of this program for a long time. Arch Manning's still young. He's going to make some mistakes. There are going to be some things that don't come as easy to him, Tom, but the leadership around him and the veterans he's got in place around him are going to be able to allow Sark to run this offense the way that he wants to. This young man's been in this system for 4 years, not just at this program for 4 years. 46 career starts for Jake Majors. only 4 sacks allowed, and over 1,500 drops. He can change protections. He can change the run scheme. He can direct all the traffic and allow Arch Manning to sit back and relax just a little bit more than some quarterbacks might be able to.
Now, the other side for Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, they don't have that same level of confidence because they're also starting a freshman, and this is a brand new Mississippi State team. They've had their struggles on both sides of the ball. The Texas native is looking to make it easier for Michael Van Buren, who makes his first college start in front of 101,000. So how does the run game help the freshman QB?
Well, that's the way to do it, Tom. Take a little bit of pressure off of him. Don't allow him to sit back in the pocket very often. Force the defense to play you a little bit differently that can give you some uncontested throws, give you some higher percentage throws. Utilize play action just a little bit. Get that RPO game going. There's no RPO run pass option without the run game first.
Texas won the toss, elected to defer, so Mississippi State and Michael Van Buren will start with the football. What a scene in Austin. Will Stone has it on a tee, getting ready to get us started on this brutally hot afternoon. Temperature in the low 90s, feel like temperature, and this sunny Saturday in the mid-90s. No return for Davon Booth. And Michael Van Buren, freshman from Bowie, Maryland, out of St. Francis Academy, making his first start since last year against IMG, a game that was played in front of roughly 3,000 people. Today, he'll take his first snap in front of 100,000. How do you calm the nerves if you're Van Buren?
Couple run plays first, Tom. I think maybe get him going with his legs. Get him outside of the pocket first and foremost. Usually when you move the pocket, you have a deliberate throw. It's kind of a one there. If it's not, tuck it and run. Make life a little bit easier for him from a decision-making standpoint. 9th
true freshman starting quarterback in Mississippi State history. He's got Davon Booth in the backfield, and they run it on first down. We talked with Jeff Lebby before the game, and he said it's really simple. We need 3 or 4 yards every first down, and we can do that with the ground game.
Sounds more simple than it is against a defense like this. Defensive line for Texas has been pretty good this year.
They want to go tempo as often as possible. That may be limited with Van Buren in the quarterback position. And they'll run it again. And Mississippi State perfectly on schedule, looking at a 3rd and 2 on its first possession.
First thing I like here, Tom, is decompressing the formations. Don't attract more attention to the line of scrimmage of the football. Now you'll bring that tight end next to you, add a little bit extra physicality potentially to try to pick up this first down.
3rd down 2 for Michael Van Buren at Mississippi State. Plenty of time on the play clock with the check at the line. They keep it on the ground, and he is stopped just short of the line to gain. Andrew Mukuba came in from his safety spot to fill in the hole, and that leaves State with a 4th and 1, and they'll leave the offense on the field. They only have one win against the #1 team in the country in their school history. They got to roll the dice at times today. And this time they get the first down. Davon Booth takes it past the 40 for a State team in this 3-game losing streak that has punted on its opening drive 3 consecutive weeks.
Well, it's utilizing tempo to your advantage, Tom, and you can see numbers to the left side of your screen favor Mississippi State. You play down to the mesh. That splitter comes right across. Tight end, flat line of scrimmage, picks up a seal-out block, and State picks up the first down yardage.
Van Buren keeps it on the ground. It's Booth again trying to find the outside, and he just makes it back to the line of scrimmage. Jalen Guilbeau with the stop for Texas. This is a Mississippi State team coming off its best rushing performance of the season in the home loss to Florida last week.
Boy, Tom, I tell you, 88, Barron Sorrell doesn't get a ton of credit for how he plays the run. He was literally stiff-arming an offensive lineman in each arm, riding them flat down the line of scrimmage on that play to allow his teammate, Jalen Guilbeau, to come up and clean things behind the line of scrimmage.
When does Van Buren put it in the air? He's 7 for 13 on the season, just 54%. Taking over for an injured Blake Shapen, who didn't make the trip after undergoing surgery, out for the rest of the year with a knee injury. And now Van Buren on a rollout, decides to tuck it and steps out of bounds just before midfield.
There we go, Tom. We talked about move the pocket a little bit. Give Michael Van Buren an easy decision. If it's there, make the throw. If not, tuck it, run. Also like how selective Jeff Lebby is being with tempo here. We saw it on the 4th down play, but not necessarily rushing everything else just to force that tempo in.
That is a huge advantage for Lebby's offenses over the years, the last 2 years as the OC at Oklahoma. Had a win against Texas in the Cotton Bowl last year. And on 3rd and 3, a straight drop. Van Buren can't make up his mind, so he'll run it again. And he lowers his shoulder to pick up the first down right into Jalen Guilbeau.
Excellent decision from the young quarterback. Decisive, tuck the football, get out of harm's way. Now Jeff Lebby's going to want to see him probably slide here, not take the hit. You're already down your starting quarterback. A little bit of rush lane integrity lost on the left side of that offensive line by the Texas defense.
A little play action. Van Buren hit. It comes out sideways. That will be a forward pass and incomplete. Ethan Burke at Austin Westlake High School caused the issues for Van Buren.
Little Tex twist right there. Tackle in twist. Burke coming down inside. 91, one of my favorite players to watch on this Texas defense, Tom. He doesn't get a ton of run. When he gets into the game, the gas pedal is on the floor.
Honorable mention all conference in the Big 12 last year for Burke. And Parsons in at quarterback. He'll take off on the left side and able to come up with a positive play and nearly pick up the first down. We'll see where they mark him out of bounds. Chris Parson is a redshirt freshman from Brentwood, Tennessee. He's the only other quarterback active that has taken snaps for Mississippi State. Saw action in a couple of games last year. Picked up a first down and he'll move the chain. Parsons stays in.
I like going +1 there. Quarterback run, pick up an extra blocker. Colin Simmons, freshman edge defender, collapse down inside just a little too much to give up that short corner.
10th play of the opening drive for Mississippi State. Johnny Daniels has entered at running back next to Parson. Parson got a start against A&M last year. Play clock hit 0 and they don't get the snap off. Parson.
Play of game. Offense.
Has State going backwards here. He was a recruit of the Mike Leach regime a few years ago. Saw action due to injury last season. He was a 3-star recruit out of Ravenwood High School in Middle Tennessee. They leave him in on 1st and 15. So this is not just a change of pace situation.
And Jeff Lebby told us on the field, Tom, before the game, Chris Parson will play. Not necessarily a rhyme or reason to win, but did want to get him in the game.
Play clock late again. They're using all of it. The lead for the QB, and he spins his way free again. And Parson is able to turn something out of nothing. He had to fight for that couple of yards. And now Michael Van Buren will return a quarterback.
Quarterback power to the left side of that offensive line, which is a gap scheme run. Pullers are going left, and Parson did a nice job seeing the opening back behind it. Once again, staying in those run lanes, run fits up front for the Texas defense. Not exactly where Pete Kwiatkowski is going to want them when he watches this film.
It's a Texas defense which has been locked down all season. The only struggles have come against the run, 26 in the nation. Straight ahead, Johnny Daniels. Texas 5th in the country in total defense. They're 8th against the pass. They allow only 5.5 points a game. It is tied with Ole Miss coming into this weekend, the FBS lead. And Ole Miss was shocked at home by Kentucky to start the day. On 3rd and 5, nothing doing. Anthony Hill Jr. with the flex after the stop, and that'll bring up another 4th down for State.
Watch your tackle, going to try to pull out here and get the kick out block, Tom. It's not going to be deep enough as Anthony Hill is on a pressure right through that B gap. you have to adjust your track if you're an offensive lineman there and get out of there in a hurry.
State 7 for 11 on 4th downs this season, including one earlier this drive. That was 4th and short. Now they need 7. The pass is complete, short of the marker, and they'll turn it over on downs on the catch by Justin Ball. A lengthy opening drive for Mississippi State, but nothing to show for it. And when we return, we will see the present and the future of this Texas football program with Arch Manning getting the start for the Longhorns. First SEC start for Arch Manning, leading this Texas offense after a long but empty Mississippi State drive. He told us yesterday that every game day he gets a phone call from his grandma and grandpa. And his grandpa Archie says, let's not take any hits today. Grandma Olivia feels the same. And the first pitch and catch results in a Texas first down to Matthew Golden. There's a flag on the play. A gain of 23. Ken Williamson is our referee today.
Personal foul. Face mask. Business interference. 15-yard penalty hitting the line. Automatic first down.
This is depleted Mississippi State secondary. How can Steve Sarkisian ease things for Arch?
Call and go, Tom. I talked to Sark on the field before the game, said, do you want to sort of feel this thing out? Because he and I agreed on this defensive structure. It's been a little bit unknown so far this season. He said, we'll have a lot of plays early that we just call it and we run it, no matter what the look is.
State is without 4 players in the secondary 2 deep, including their leading tackler, safety Isaac Smith. Arch is 2 for 2. This is Isaiah Bond, and he has it inside the 20 and a pickup of 16.
Well, I understand what Coleman Holzer, the defensive coordinator for Mississippi State, wants to do. Stacking the line of scrimmage, trying to take that run away. You would think you get your young quarterback comfy by running the football. But when you give that kind of cushion on the outside, Arch Manning can make those completions.
Jaden Blue is his running back. This is a 2 tight end formation for Texas. Arch slings it sidearm, and immediately Gunnar Helm, the senior from Inglewood, Colorado, is taken down by Nick Mitchell.
One of the strengths of his game so far, Tom, has been play action. You saw quickly there how deliberate Arch Manning is getting set up. Understands exactly how to get those shoulder squares, sets the feet up, knows where to get the eyes immediately coming out of those play action fakes.
Wide receiver DeAndre Moore, middle receiver on the bottom of the formation now. He's been battling an injury. They fake the screen, and now to the fade. Here's Moore. Touchdown, Texas. I say out at the 1. That close. DeAndre Moore thought he had it. The guys who fired the cannons thought he had it.
A little bit of a flood concept here for Texas. They've hit the running back out of this multiple times. Tom, this is actually the play that I asked Coach Sarkisian about when we met with him yesterday.
Goes for a gain of 20. And now Arch getting his running back in the right spot. Handoff straight ahead. Touchdown, Texas. Jaden Blue. That 20-yard gain, Colt, set him up for a goal line plunge from Blue, his 4th touchdown of the season.
It stresses your defense in multiple ways, and they've had a lot of success going to the back, out of the backfield with this play. The back is usually the one that will motion, though. This time it was Gunnar Helm, the tight end, out of the backfield that sets up a little bit of a screen flare to the running back, but you have the option to push that ball down the field. It's exactly what Arch Manning decided to do.
Bert Auburn on for the point after, and he remains perfect on the season. Texas wastes no time, under 2 minutes in this scoring drive. A 20-yard pitch and catch to DeAndre Moore set him up at the goal line. And Moore's first catch had him in scoring position. Jaden Blue takes care of the rest, and Texas is out front early.
SEC Network Football is presented by the new Fun 99 menu at Sonic. Live free, eat Sonic.
I was talking with their new baseball coach here at Texas before the game. Jim Schlossnagle, and he said, you know, I'm not intimidated by much, but the head coaches meetings here at the University of Texas are heavyweight meetings. You look around and everybody has a national championship under their belt. The history of the athletic excellence here at the University of Texas is virtually unmatched. For an update on a busy day in the league, let's go to the studio. Here's Peter Burns.
Thank you, Tom Hart. Well, Peyton Thorne back as a starting quarterback for the Auburn Tigers, and he finds his big target. Keandre Lambert-Smith with a dime. We got a tie ball game down on the Plains, and Sloss was just kind of intimidated by your jacket, Tom. I think that's what it was.
All right, Peter, thanks. Auburn looking for a big upset today at home on the Plains. And everybody in the stadium, including the head coaches, were watching the end of that Kentucky-Ole Miss game. Fascinated by the job that Mark Stoops and his Wildcats did slowing down that high-powered Ole Miss. Stayed back to the run game, and Davon Booth lost his footing on the cut, but he's still able to pick up 3.5 on first down.
Success with these gap scheme runs for Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State's offense. That time, left guard Jacoby Jackson pulling around, solid contact at the line of scrimmage. Keep your footing. There's more green there in the run game, it feels like, for Mississippi State early on.
Kevin Coleman was the man who came in motion on the right side. He's their most electric player on the offensive side. And with his first touch, he tries to stretch it, but has nowhere to advance. Malik Muhammad, preseason second-team SEC defensive back, makes the stop.
It's going to be a tough living out there on the perimeter against this Texas defense, Tom. We got linebackers running 22, 23 miles an hour on this defense.
That's fast. Third down coming. State 1 for 3 on third down today. Doubtful this is 4-down territory, even though they went for it twice on fourth down on their opening possession. Van Buren over the middle, just a hair behind, defended by Jahdae Barron. And Mississippi State will have to punt it away.
It's not the worst read. You got man coverage. Feel like you could hit the slant here. I think the ball's just a tad late. Little small hesitation there in the pocket. Not a lot of separation from the receiver. An excellent job by Jahdae Barron. Moved down from that field linebacker position a year ago. Playing corner this year. Came back to sort of handle his business and finish the job the right way here for the Longhorns.
Silas Bolden is back to receive this punt from Nick Barmira. And a fair catch taken. 46-yard punt. Let's talk about this week's secret recipe, brought to you by Bush's Grill and Beans.
Well, Jake Majors, you're going to see him at the line of scrimmage directing traffic a lot, Tom. Pre-snap, before you even get anybody in line, you see him looking where we're going to slide the protection out this way. Let's go take care of that blitz over there. All right, well, guess what happens then? The front's going to move. Now he gives you a different check, which says we're going to go 5-0, 5-0, which means we're going to man up this. They get it picked up. The important part there is it allows the running back to get out of the backfield and into a route, which makes it a life easier on the quarterback. Don't have to keep that back in on protection. Jake Majors does a lot for this offense and for this offensive line.
46th consecutive start for Majors at center. Arch over the middle, wide open. Bond has room after the catch, and he takes it into state territory. 27-yard gain. Arch Manning is on fire to start this contest.
Safety help has to arrive a little bit sooner, but quickly just back to Jake Majors, Tom. Listening to Kyle Flood, co-offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, tell us yesterday what he can do. He'll signal things to the running back in protection to change him up.
Trayvon Wisner is in at running back. Ball batted in the air and will fall for Arch Manning's first incompletion of the afternoon.
Coach Flood was telling us about a visit to the Eagles in the offseason and asking their offensive staff how they handle a certain pressure, and they just said, well, we just let Kelsey handle that.
We did.
Similar situation with Jake Majors, though. Coach Flood said they want to put more on him, and they said they want him to be aggressive with making checks, essentially saying, trust your education, trust your football knowledge.
On 2nd and 10, complete to Bond. And Bond splits a few defenders and powers his way through. Steve Sarkisian is certainly a fan of big human beings, and that's what they have on this Texas offensive line as it returned 4 out of 5 starters. And speaking of Majors, he said he grew up in our culture, lives inside of him, and now he's paying it forward. He went through senior day ceremonies last year, but elected to return for another go at it. The thought was, his coaching staff, he knew how special this team could be. Gunnar Helm, the tight end, taken down after a pickup of 5, maybe 4.
Tom, it goes a little bit further with this roster and how Sark has constructed this Texas roster. I think it's almost perfect with today's college football culture. You sprinkle in a couple guys of the portal to fill in some depth, but mostly your guys still with you.
Here's Blue. And Blue takes it to the 21. It was interesting when asked Sark about building this roster and becoming bigger. He said, you know, when I took this job, it wasn't to win a conference title. It was to win a national championship. And I know how national champions are built. I know how Alabama was built. I know how Georgia was built. LSU at the time I took this job. We needed to invest in big humans. We needed to invest in the trenches. They're so confident about this offensive line, and they're built to win in the SEC, which means they're built to win a national title. A little hesitation on the runoff tackle for Blue, and that'll bring up 4th and 1 and some scuffling at the end of that one. State thought the ball came out. State insists the ball came out. It did. Mississippi State with the takeaway. Zachary Tillman is at the bottom of the pile. Corey Ellington ends up with it, and Mississippi State does what it needs to try and spur an upset. They take the ball away from Texas. Well, Corey Ellington able to put his helmet on the football, and it's recovered by Zachary Tillman, and Mississippi State with a takeaway. Their only win against number 1 came in 1980. Tyrone Keys forced a key fumble in a win against Alabama in a game in Jackson. And this will help State with some momentum. And Michael Van Buren hands it off. And they got room with Johnny Daniels, who rips off 9 and still churning, makes it 10, a first down. First start for Michael Van Buren. Alyssa Lang, what have you seen from the freshman?
Tom, Michael's teammates tell me he's fearless, he's excited to play, and there's no part of him that's intimidated. Watching him on the sidelines, I can absolutely echo that sentiment. He was really disappointed coming off of that last drive, took some coaching from Coach Levy, went right back to work on the iPads with his coach.
They are run heavy today. 14 out of their 18 plays have been on the ground. Johnny Daniels bottled up. David Benda, our favorite player interview of the season, with the home run swing after the stop.
Spoke to Sam Contero, director of nutrition and performance, before the game. Said David Benda has run over 22 miles an hour on the GPS. And when you turn him loose, Tom, and he's able to just tee off like that, bad things happen. You go to the first drive of the Michigan game, I'm not sure he had any recollection of where the football was. He was seeking and destroying Michigan offensive linemen, knocking them on their rear ends. And he told us in that meeting, I was looking to set a tone early.
22 miles an hour, 235 pounds. That is a freight train. Play clock is at 1. It's at 0. And the second delay of game.
5-yard penalty.
First start for the freshman, Michael Van Buren.
Correction, prior to the delay of game, Mississippi State called timeout. They're first of the half.
All right, so State avoids taking the penalty by getting a timeout before the play clock hit zeros, with 1:27 remaining in the opening quarter. Obviously, the process of getting the play call in to a freshman quarterback needs to be simplified. And Jeff Levy, talking to us before the game today, he said, you know, I asked Blake Shapen to do some things earlier this season that were a little bit out of his comfort zone. It's about keeping it simple.
He talked about just allowing quarterbacks to be protected within the offense, not putting too much on their plate. That's where he went back to saying that running the football could be the first thing to ease that pain. And I asked him, I said, well, how do you get outside of your system? And how do you get outside of things that might be too much on the quarterback? And he said, just getting away from calling the plays it should be called. Go run the football, pick up 4 yards, 3 yards on first down. Make life a little bit easier on second down. Essentially, Tom, I think Jeff Levy telling us, don't get greedy. And even sometimes if you have the look that you want to throw the football, right now it may be in the Bulldogs' best interest to go ahead and just play some ground and pound.
Shapen, the transfer quarterback from Baylor, out for the year. His career 27 starts. Van Buren's first today on play action to the slant, and it's incomplete. Great coverage by Andrew Makuba. He was all over Traore. 3rd and 11.
Great play by Makuba. He was 15 yards off the football when that ball was snapped. I think that's why Michael Van Buren Jr. thought he was going to have a little bit more space.
Van Buren just 2 for 5 through the air this afternoon. Texas brings 4. Van Buren has it tipped out of his hand, still caught, and a first down by Traore. Arkansas State transfer picks up 15 yards.
Big Alfred Collins, number 95, gets the ball up, doesn't get the tip, actually. That was out on the edge. Trey Moore, the UTSA transfer edge, that got his hand on it.
A lot of window dressing, and a flag on the play, and the completion to Davon Booth. And this one coming back. We mentioned the returning snaps on the offensive line for Texas.
Holding. Offense number 51. 2-yard penalty. Okay, first down.
That's freshman Luke Work who got flagged. Mississippi State has very little returning. 12th in the country with 52 new players.
You'll see Luke Work working on Trey Moore, who we just mentioned, seasoned veteran. Latest conference in sacks at UTSA a year ago. He's got an array of moves, very quick, great get off. That's a true freshman, Tom, working on an early round draft pick.
Up 1st and 20. They keep it on the ground for Booth. Picking Longhorn, everybody seemed to be in on that stop.
Yeah, Ethan Burke came back inside. Luke Work again kind of forces that play to spill to the outside. And then you'll get Justin Ball just trying to have to work on a safety one-on-one. That didn't go well.
Well, Mississippi State, if they've done anything well, it's control time of possession in this upset bid today. And the takeaway has helped try to garner some momentum. We get to the end of the first quarter. Jeff Levy's team has controlled the football, and it's only a touchdown deficit for Mississippi State. Steve Sarkisian's team 1 for 2 on scoring drives so far today. First quarter in the books. Number 1 Texas leads Mississippi State 7-0. First SEC game from Austin, Texas, and the Longhorns with a 7-0 lead after the first quarter. Texas and their Hall of Fame. Look at that. We got all sorts of trophies in there. The athletic excellence stands out here. Beautiful facilities. By the way, Texas hasn't lost as number 1 to an unranked team since 1981. That was against Arkansas. In fact, they've only lost twice. 81 to Arkansas and 61 to TCU. Van Buren hands it off, and they're able to get some yardage back thanks to Johnny Daniels, who went for 77 yards against Florida. And Cole, you go back to the first possession of the game for Mississippi State. Their longest drive of the season, 13 plays. Converted a 4th down, able to keep the ball away from the Longhorns. 3rd and 8 now. Texas playing the run. Van Buren goes down the sideline. It is incomplete. He had Mario Craver. Just couldn't haul it in. And if you're a 5-touchdown underdog, you got to make plays like that if you want a chance.
It's right into the sun. No surprise that Craver kind of loses it, but look at the speed to be able to run past the DB. You get the coverage that you want. Good patience by Van Buren to sort of wait for the route to develop. Delivers a decent ball. Of course, you would want it back out over the front shoulder. But either way, got to find to come up with that football.
Second punt from Nick Barmira. Not a good one. Bolden Watches it take a state hop, and it ends up inside the 20, 35-yard punt. How about Arch Manning so far, Cole?
Deliberate. First thing we talked about, Coach Sarr giving him play and run calls early on. And the play action, just an early strength of his game. Notices that the defensive back has shoulders turned. Go ahead and deliver a strike. Allow your receivers to do the work on high percentage throws. He's so comfortable in the pocket as well. And not afraid to challenge the middle of the field. So many college quarterbacks just won't do it. Good touch to the outside. He will take some unnecessary risks at times, Toms. He's got that confidence that he can fit balls into certain windows, but I love the poise in the pocket. I mean, there were a couple of times this year where he looks like he was going to get sawed in half. He'll hang in there and still deliver a strike.
Last year, he took a total of 27 snaps over 2 appearances. Just a hair high as he misfires to the tight end, Juan Davis. We had a chance to watch Arch through practice yesterday. He is, I think, probably bigger than some would assume. 6'4", 225, a big lower body. He has his grandpa's speed. Archie was an incredible scrambling quarterback in his days at Ole Miss and with the Saints.
I also found it interesting, as you stated earlier in the broadcast, that Archie was the one that asked him to go out of bounds or slide when I never saw Archie do that in any of the highlights when I've watched him play football.
No, he didn't want to. Broken arms be damned. And a run off the right tackle by Travion Wisner.
Archie Manning, one of the toughest football players that I can recall watching, and then I think you get that with Arch as well.
We got a flag on the play. Ken Williamson, our referee today. I think anytime your grandpa calls and says, hey, take it safe, don't take a hit, and your grandma is on the line as well, you certainly listen to them. But when your grandma and grandpa, Archie and Olivia, well, it just hits a little bit different. That is royalty of college football. We got timeout on the field. Back in a moment with Texas up 7-0.
10-yard penalty, previous spot. Repeat second down.
Let's take a look at the family history for the Mannings. Archie made his first start in 1968 against Memphis State. Peyton, a week after coming off the bench against Mississippi State, threw for 79 yards against Washington State. Eli, well, he noted on social media, he won 5 touchdowns, no picks, playing for Ole Miss in his first career start. He never misses a chance, does he?
He does not. They all three have a win against Mississippi State, though. Would this be the first college football family to have 4 different wins against one program?
It might be. Now, I would say, going back and doing the research, they all struggled in their first game against Mississippi State. Arch trying to get out, and that included Peyton after a 76-yard completion, losing a game as a ranked Tennessee team against the Bulldogs. Alyssa?
Tom, you mentioned Arch struggling that interception early in the game last week, and I thought it was so interesting. Coach Sark telling us yesterday he wasn't hung up on it. He was ready to get back out there, flush the memory, and that may not have been the case last year. Arch cited Quinn Ewers in helping him get to that place mentally, watching the mistakes that Quinn made throughout his career and the way that Quinn bounced back to find success. It's really cool to watch this relationship at work.
Quinn Ewers not dressed out today. He's on the Texas sideline. And Arch, no struggles so far, 7 of 9. And finds a wide open. Gunnar Helmer delivers a lick.
I talked to Quinn Ewers on the field before the game, Tom. I think he's playing jewelry holder today for other guys on the team.
He is blinged out.
I said, every team needs a jewelry guy. And he said, I'll be that guy today. But he was impressed with Arch Manning and what he's done so far.
And to be clear, it's interesting talking with Sark yesterday. He said, I don't want to use Quinn in this game. They got a bye week coming up. They want to get him rested. He was one of the top prospects in this summer's draft. The reading between the lines is that they could use him if necessary, but suffering through an oblique injury, trying to get healthy. State got a piece of that one. It checks up inside the 40, and the Bulldogs, with a special teams play, force a 22-yard punt. Zachary Tillman has been a wrecking machine. He already has a fumble recovery, and this time he comes right up the gut to get a piece of the punt.
Boy, an excellent job by Tillman coming right up the middle. Coleman Holzer told me they're going to play him at Sam linebacker a little bit today. He hasn't done much of it, he said, but he's so active. 4-core special teams player, a lot of speed, a lot of intensity, making the most of these new reps that he's getting for this Mississippi State football team today.
Tillman was a quarterback in early days of high school. Got thrown in on defense, and he just became a playmaker. Getting an opportunity today, this Mississippi State defense is absolutely obliterated with injury. Davon Booth at running back. Stutter steps his way into the line and picks up 5. And it should be noted that Mississippi State on the offensive side as well is without some key players. We mentioned Chapin is out, Kevon Lee, the running back is out. Whittemore is going to take his red shirt. He's no longer playing in games, among others. Off the right side, little bit of room before Benda finds him, and Booth wrapped up.
A one-on-one situation against David Benda, not usually going to go well. Right side of your screen. And this young man plays linebacker exactly the way that it's supposed to be done. Physicality, I mentioned over 22 miles an hour on the GPS earlier. An absolute joy to visit with. And all those aspirations that we've talked about for this Texas program, Tom, David Benda yesterday made them all very clear. It's national championship for this team.
His parents moved here from Sierra Leone, escaping the Civil War conflict, and every day he's reminded of the dream that he's living. Straight up the middle, State picks up the first down behind Davon Booth, transfer from Utah State. Had a key touchdown in the early going against Florida. The Bulldogs kind of hung with Florida for about 3 quarters before the Gators put it away late.
But this is what they did to hang in that game, Tom. They grinded out some yards, especially those last 2 drives before halftime for State a week ago were exceptional. And it was physical. You saw Ethan Miner on that last play, handling the nose guard.
State has had possession 7.5 minutes longer than Texas. Van Buren into the end zone. It is incomplete. Kevin Coleman, the intended receiver, Michael Taft closed on him and forced the incompletion.
Well, you talk about a big-time recovery for Michael Taft. 16 safety in this secondary, fooled by that run early. Covers a lot of ground to be able to get back and break that pass up. It's just an excellent job. And that might be why that ball came up just a little bit short. The late pressure on Chris Parson.
Second deep ball that Mississippi State had an opportunity on but couldn't squeeze. Back to the ground game. Booth picks up a yard and a few. Davon Booth transferred in from Utah State. He played at El Monte High School in Southern California, then Cerritos Junior College. He was at LA Times Back of the Year coming out of high school. 3rd down 9. And Buren just 3 of 8 through the air, lost the snap, picks it up and gets crushed. Jermaine Lole able to take advantage of that loose ball and close on the freshman QB.
Jermaine Lole did an excellent job striking and shedding on the previous play. Watch him over here, right side of your screen. Going to tell his defense, get out of my way, I'm going to go get the football. Colin Simmons right in front of him just trucks his own man out of the way to come make that tackle for loss after the fumble.
Kyle Ferry on for a field goal attempt of 45 yards. His long this season is 32. And it's drifting and ends up inside for the field goal, and Kyle Ferry is able to get Mississippi State on the board with a 45-yarder. The block punt gave State a short field. They needed just 7 plays to cover 10 yards. And Mississippi State on an upset Saturday, hanging in there on the road against number 1.
Reporting live from a solar eclipse that be
To Jackson, Mississippi, 1980. Number 1 Alabama, coached by Bear Bryant on the ropes, and Tyrone Key with a forced fumble. Mississippi State's John Bond was just able to barely handle the final snap of the game. Maybe controversy at the end in Jackson, but State with its lone win against number 1 former Texas assistant Emory Ballard. Father of the Wishbone was the head coach. They snapped Alabama's 28-game win streak. Bond, by the way, that was a game in Jackson, had the student managers drive his Corvette to the stadium, park it right outside the locker room. He said, boys, make sure the trunk is full of Budweiser, because we're going to celebrate at the end of this one. And boy, did they.
Boz or Bond?
Bond. Yeah, either way.
That's bold.
It is bold.
Can you imagine Twitter after that play right there, that fumble at the end of the game? Would have melted.
1-11 all time against number 1. Howard Keys would go on to have great success, the Super Bowl champion with the Bears in 1985. Arch Manning 8 of 10 to start this game for a $112. They fake the orbit, turns back to the right, and out of the backfield, Wisner running over dudes. Travion Wisner out of DeSoto High School didn't play last game. He's been bothered by an injury. Doesn't look hurt here.
Love the play call. Arch understands defender down, gets the screen out. Can't wall off the other defender. Look at that shot. Blah. Nice job holding on to the football. Yards after the catch, making a couple defenders miss.
Little pitch to Wisner, and he gets interrupted in the backfield. Stone Blanton there to clean it up after Brylan Lanier turned him back inside.
Brylan Lanier, Brylo, very important for this defense. He'll play more of the boundary safety. He's been the field safety in this structure for a while, but some of those numbers you mentioned earlier, Tom, they had to move some bodies around. Versatile player in Coleman Holtzer's scheme.
Well, they've had to move a lot of bodies around. Isaac Smith, their biggest loss as safety, was on the field pregame, went through warmups, but not participating in this game. Here's Matthew Golden, and he gets taken down by Blanton. Junior from Jackson, Mississippi. Blanton transferred in from South Carolina. He was originally committed to Mississippi State to play baseball. Ended up with the Gamecocks, and now staying in the SEC, back with the Bulldogs. Texas is 0 for 2 on 3rd down today. Four-man rush. Manning over the middle. Open. Caught. Jonte Cook couldn't haul it in. He had it in the breadbasket on a perfect toss from Manning. And what they love about Arch Manning exemplified there, he throws a beautiful deep ball.
Once again, poise in the pocket, calm, understands, and then like you said to Tom, he can drop it in. And that one on the money. Oh.
Manning 10 of 13 of the misses today. One was batted at the line and another one dropped. Michael Kern to punt it away. Only his 11th punt of the season. The dangerous Kevin Coleman back for Mississippi State. Coleman asks for a fair catch and steps up to the 22. Midway through the second quarter, Mississippi State Colt doing all that could be asked to this point.
I like the creativity in the run game. Jeff Levy changing it up a little bit in that tempo, not necessarily sticking with one aspect of it to try to grab some advantages.
7-3 Texas. Welcome back to SEC College Football presented by Sonic. There's your ride home, Cole.
I thought that was Eli's dog. His Drinkwitz dog, right?
Got the Mizzou colors, yeah. Michael Van Buren and Mississippi State trying to put their stamp on this one. He delivers a strike to Kelly Akari, and Kelly Akari takes it for a first down. First catch for the Texas native out of MacArthur High School in Irving.
He's gotten a little bit of single safety coverage to be able to find some one-on-ones to make those throws today. Nice pitch and catch there.
Longest play of the afternoon for Mississippi State. Back to the run. Johnny Daniels. Daniels came to State from Copiah Lincoln Community College. While there, he was the 3rd string running back, and they were playing in a blowout loss. It was 35-0, and as the story goes, nobody wanted to continue to get their butts kicked to play in the game. So he said, Coach, put me in. He immediately ripped off an 80-yard touchdown on his first carry. took over #1 duties. The rest is history. And now he's toting the rock for Mississippi State. On second down, flag on the play, and they'll whistle it dead pre-snap. Motion on State.
False start on the offense. Not all 11 players were set for a full second. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Tom, you were just talking about Johnny Daniels. I talked to him about that very story this week. He's so excited to be in the SEC. He said, I want to prove that I can hang with the big dogs. I want to show the world and the country that I can play in the SEC. He felt like he was underrated his entire life, thought he'd get more D1 offers out of high school, but ended up with an injury. He said, when it comes to Jeff Lebby's offense, no brainer. Of course I wanted to play here.
And now it's 2nd and 13. Over the middle, another first down through the air. Kevin Coleman, one of the top recruits in the country, coming out of St. Mary's High School in St. Louis, went to play for Dion at Jackson State, and he picks up 20.
Coleman's in the slot, top of your screen. He's going to find zone coverage and just sitting right in the middle there. Deep slant. Michael Van Buren knew he had space to make that toss.
And again, after the big play through the air, they turn to the ground, and Johnny Daniels, to put a bow on Alyssa's story. Daniels was recruited by the likes of Alcorn State, Samford, after being a track star at Crystal Springs High School.
He can play, Tom. A couple runs against Florida last week. He had one run where he's spinning through one defender, kind of stepping on another defender, dragging a guy 10, 15 yards down the field. He's got good power, good burst. He loves to get north and south.
Approach the 5-minute mark of the first half. Mississippi State trying to deliver a stunner. We've already had one today in the SEC. Not much space off tackle. Daniels still able to pick up a few.
Well, Tom, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of freshmen in college football that come ready-made this year. You see Ryan Williams at Alabama, Dylan Stewart, South Carolina. This man right here, Colin Simmons, ready-made to be an SEC player day one.
3rd down 2. Huge down for Mississippi State. Likely out of field goal range here. Daniels has a first down and a blocker, and he gets dragged down from behind, but not before he gets inside the 20. 16-yard gain for Johnny Daniels.
Well, we just mentioned Colin Simmons. He's going to get washed down just a little bit right there. Wrong shoulders, the puller, and that allows Daniels to bounce outside. A massive pickup for this Mississippi State offense. And then I go back to changing up things in the run game, Tom. You've had a lot. Tight ends have been inserted into the middle between the centers and guards. You've had tight ends split flat. You've had different type pullers, counters, power plays.
Texas is one of 4 schools in the country that have yet to trail all season. Try to run it up the middle. And Colin Simmons, a freshman you just mentioned, with another stop, this time on Davon Booth. Texas, Tennessee, Army, and Indiana have yet to trail this year. That was a loss of 1, 2nd and 11. True freshman quarterback Michael Van Buren at the controls for the Bulldogs. Gibbs straight up the middle. Davon Booth brought down by Simmons again.
Now you clamp the inside with the center and the right guard. Big 77 Marlon Martinez wraps around up on Anthony Hill Jr. So continuing to sort of tinker and toy with different schemes, same plays, changing up the blocking schemes in this run game to try and cause some confusion. And as I said earlier, Johnny Daniels, he'll get north and south for you, as will Devin Booth.
Ethan Burke and Trey Moore return for this Texas defense. Been on the field a lot on this hot Saturday afternoon. 3rd down 6. And it's kept by Chris Parson. The Parson gets bottled up before he gets back to the line of scrimmage. And that'll take us to the 2-minute timeout. Mississippi State will have some time to think about it.
This is just nasty inside right here.
Taking on to get the play off. And field goal range for sure. And now they'll delay and let the clock get to 2 minutes. Mississippi State, 5 touchdown underdogs on the road against number 1, with the decision to make coming out of the 2-minute timeout, trailing 7-3. Kyle Ferry has already made from 45 today. He'll line up to try to make it a 1-point game. It's a 32-yard attempt for the native of Searcy, Arkansas. Grew up an Arkansas fan. The Razorbacks, the last unranked team to knock off number 1 Texas back in 1981. Lefty from the right side and got it. And we got a 1-point game with 1:56 to play. Not the only upset-minded team today. To the studio, here's Peter Burns.
Indeed, that is the case. Coming up on the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report, we'll talk about Big Blue Stunner. How about Mark Stoops getting that victory down in Oxford? Hogs and Aggies in Arlington. Sooners first road test. What are you seeing in this one, though?
Sloppy Texas play so far. You don't just roll the balls out here in the SEC.
That's true. How about the run game by Mississippi State, though? Over 100 yards.
Only, what, 1 rushing yard for the Longhorns? Back to 100,000 plus for Tom and Cole.
All right, gentlemen, thanks. Speaking of that Kentucky Big Blue Stunner, I think Mark Stoops probably cracking a bottle of the good stuff. Maybe the RD1 as he lands back in the bluegrass tonight. Caden Davis missed a 48-yard field goal with under a minute to go for Ole Miss. And I don't know how many people were in this stadium at the time. What would you get, like 60,000?
Yeah, a little more than halfway full.
They were stunned.
There was one guy in particular on the field that was not, that you talked to.
No, I asked Sark what he thought about it. He goes, no, not surprised at all. Through the back of the end zone. This series history goes back a long way, and there have been some interesting matchups between these two as far as Texas is concerned. 2005 national champions with Mack Brown, Vince Young. 10-win season from 2010 to 22, and 5 losing seasons. Couldn't seem to get it right. Couldn't seem to find a quarterback or the right coach. So you get both. Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers roll in. 12-2 last year, a berth in the college football playoff. A little bit of room off the left side for Jadon Blue. What is it that has Sark rolling the last couple of years?
Number 1 is recruiting. He is relentless in recruiting, and they've gone and gotten elite talent across the board.
Arch puts it in the air. Wow, immediately blown up. What a fantastic play by Brylan Lanier, junior from Tuscaloosa, who went to Paul Bryant High School, and an injury for Ryan Wingo, the superstar freshman who limps off the field.
Boy, Lanier just comes flying up past the block of Isaiah Bond to break that pass up. Just excellent instincts on the perimeter.
Longhorns 0 for 3 on 3rd down today. Arch Manning looking for his tight end. Instead checks down to the running back. Blue dives forward. That picks up the 1st down.
Quickly go back to Brylan Lanier. Coleman Holzer really making no bones about him being their most valuable player, just because he can do so many different things in this defense.
Clock rolling, a minute to play in the 1st half. Manning spans the field and finds a man wide open with a catch on his backside. It's Bond. Talked to Arch about this offense, and he said it's a progression offense. I've got to be able to work from 1 through 5, and he did that time. Came back to one of his first looks. There's the tight end, Gunnar Helm. Out of bounds. 45 seconds left. Texas has all 3 timeouts remaining.
One more thing super impressive with Arch Manning, Tom. You get in these 2-minute drills, a lot of times quarterbacks that lack experience or haven't really been around, they look different. They operate in a different manner. Not Arch Manning. Looks exactly the same.
2nd and 6. The goal was to make things easy for him so he could play loose and carefree. Pressure up the middle, hit as he throws, and a little high. I asked Arch about that. He said, listen, Sark demands a lot of his quarterbacks, and so it is a matter of being held accountable early in the week. And Sark told us it's a balance between holding them accountable and then building them up and building confidence the closer we get to game day. 3rd and 6. Longhorns have only converted 1 third down. Texas has only rushed for 3 yards prior to that play, and a flag at the tail end on the run from Blue. And this one's going against Texas. What has kept the Longhorns' offense from finding the rhythm that has allowed them to be one of the top scoring offenses in the country?
Well, number one, Tom, I think it's possession. I haven't had a lot of opportunities really to get out here and get going. And then just mistakes like that. You get a flag here and there. We've seen a couple of drops that could have been big and explosive plays. They haven't had that opportunity to get a true rhythm going just yet offensively.
Came in 11th in the country, just a hair under 48 points a game.
3rd down.
Over 511 yards per game.
This offense has generated explosive plays on higher percentage throws. Those haven't taken place today either.
24 plays run. They put it in the air 18 times. Empty backfield for Arch Manning. Pressure again. And as he throws again. Lobbed up and hauled in. Touchdown, Texas, DeAndre Moore. He all right. It's a 49-yard strike. He's better than all right. Seven plays, 75-yard drive.
Knew he was going to take a hit. Knew he had man coverage. Hung in there as we described earlier in the broadcast and just delivered a dime.
Auburn for the point after. 5 catches, a $122 for DeAndre Moore, who suffered through a hip pointer. Steve Sarkisian said, if possible, I'd like to limit his time on Saturday afternoon. They need him today, and he has showed up.
5-man protection. You know you're going to take the hit. Stone Blanton off the edge is not going to be able to be picked up. That's one that you can't account for. I think Arch Manning knows that. I think he's fine with it. Knows he's going to have man coverage on the slot fade. And Tom, under pressure, taking a hit, that ball right there. Whew.
A little bit of breathing room for these Longhorns, and Moore had people concerned for a moment.
Well, especially with the celebration, he's been battling a little bit of a hip pointer, and I'm not sure if that's.
I saw the same dance move from you last night.
Only
when
once.
The cornbread came to the table.
It was solid.
Will Stone, they kick it off. 29 seconds left in the half. Jeff Lebby loves to go tempo and loves to get great field position. I don't know that they're going to try something to close the half with a freshman quarterback. Fair catch taken by Booth. The Texas offense hitting on the deep ball. They had one miss earlier in the game, but they're 9th in the country in plays of 20 yards or more. They've had 4 of them so far today. And when Arch runs that play action stuff, sometimes he looks like Peyton and Eli. He loves the deep ball.
There was one against UTSA on a boot that he came out, and that a lot of space between the shoulder pads and the helmet in the neck area, and standing straight up, delivered a ball across his body, and it just felt like you had seen that before with 16 making that throw out of the play action fake.
Van Buren to throw on first down. Dangerous. And he gets swallowed up by a bunch of burnt orange.
Timeout. Texas.
Barrett Sorrell, the senior from New Orleans, in on the sack, and Texas will take a 30-second timeout.
Big time win with hands for Barron Sorrell on that rep. And this is the value that he brings. We saw him play in the run against 2 offensive linemen. Now you slide him down inside to be more of a pass rusher. Watch the hands. Remove the hands of the left guard, and then you've got a free pass to the quarterback. I can't block you if I can't use my hands.
Coming up at halftime, you can watch the live performance of the Longhorn Band on SEC Network Plus. Start streaming now on the ESPN app. I asked you during a break earlier what issues Texas was having defensively. Why are they having such a hard time with their run fits?
I think some of it has been the confusion caused by the mixing and matching of the blocking schemes from Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby. They're running the same plays, blocking them in a little bit of different ways, and then just being a little bit over-aggressive at times. On the edge, playing down a little bit too far. Linebackers playing too close to the line of scrimmage sometimes.
22 seconds left in the half. Freshman Van Buren taking charge on a 2nd and 17. Remember, Texas still has 2 timeouts remaining. And that one spits through for a positive gain for Johnny Daniels.
Think of it this way too, Tom. Sark told us he was going to kind of slow play it because he didn't know what defensive fronts he was going to get. But you go to the other side of that, Pete Kwiatkowski, his group, they probably knew exactly what they were going to get coming into this game. I mean, Jeff Lebby's offense, they've seen it. They know it. So easy to be a little bit more aggressive with that kind of familiarity.
7 seconds left in the half. Lebby is a Texas native. He grew up in Andrews, Texas, where his dad was the head coach at Andrews High School. He grew up going to the Mustang Bowl. He said that was the best stadium I'd ever set foot in. Walking down the tunnel as a kindergartner. He was the head coach at Victoria Memorial, then with his future father-in-law on his staff at Baylor with Art Briles. The first iterations of this high-powered offense started to take hold, and contrary to popular belief, it's always been a run-first offense, and they run for $115 against Texas today. Michael Taft was the injured Longhorn. He's back on his feet. Mississippi State with a good showing, trailing by 8 as we hit the half. Let's take the studio. Here's Peter Burns.
Thank you, Tom Hart. Welcome into the SEC Halftime Report brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. I'm Peter Burns. That is Chris Doering. That is Benjamin Watson. Not the first sluggish Saturday in the history of Austin, Texas, right there for the Longhorns. But a big touchdown right before half from Arch and an absolute dime. What did you see in that first half?
Well, I saw them finish the half the way that you would expect Texas to. It hasn't been pretty for this Texas offense. They haven't been able to run the football very well. Kind of been out of sync, I think. And defensively for Texas, look, Mississippi State came out. I think they saw what happened earlier today.
Kentucky game?
With Kentucky.
Watching?
And they say, we're going to try to be a physical football team. Mississippi State comes out, runs the ball for, 115 yards or so in the first half, and kind of established that as the way they were going to play offense. And Texas is fighting back. But this first half, I think, you point at Mississippi State and say, wow, you guys came out and played like you expected to win this football game and did some great things in that first half.
Yeah, to their credit, they definitely hanging in, doing what they need to necessary to keep the game close. But I think I go back to what I thought in the preseason or the pregame was Texas should be able to run the football. Mississippi State's defense has not been good against the run all year long, and yet you only have 7 carries in the first half for 10 yards. Not really what I expected the game plan to be. They did start to run it a little bit more there on that final drive. I thought the momentum that created, 8 plays, 75-yard touchdown drive before half, has got to be a good sign heading into the locker room for Sark.
I mean, listen, Sark was trying to call timeouts there at the end, hoping they could get the ball back and have an opportunity to run up that score just a little bit. But right now, in a little bit of a dogfight. Let's go ahead and get you caught up on other highlights of going around the conference. OU taking on the Auburn Tigers down to the Plains, and there's Independence, the bald eagle. Always kind of a cool thing right there. How about first quarter? Michael Hawkins Jr., the true freshman. He gone.
That's what we thought. The reason you're going to have Michael Hawkins in there. The offensive line has not been great for Oklahoma. That time, just put his foot in the ground and got north and south. You could see the speed that kid has, too.
Sooners up 7 at that point. Peyton Thorne, though, hits this man Mr. Cam Coleman, this is one of the reasons why they thought that, hey, we don't need to go and get a transfer portal quarterback. We got some great wide receiver weapons.
They definitely
around.
upgraded the wide receiver room this offseason, but just haven't been able to get the ball to these receivers because of turnovers. But Lambert Smith, all season long, he's been the go-to guy, the big play receiver for this team.
And PB, credit, what Peyton Thorne has done so far as well. You made the comment that he's been tough today. He's taken a lot of hits.
Yes.
Delivered a couple nice throws down the field, hasn't turned the football over as well, and right now, kind of a surprising score for most SEC fans.
I was going to say, I think a lot of people thought Oklahoma, even after the loss to Tennessee, thought, hey, going down Auburn team, I'm sure no Longhorn fans watching right now are too upset with that. Of course, that'll be the next game for the Longhorns coming up right there. For Peyton Thorne, how important is it, not just in this game, but just to kind of showcase I'm the guy going forward in Hugh Freeze's offense?
Yeah, I think it's a huge thing today, a statement as to the rest of the teammates. I'm your leader. I'm the guy that you can trust. I'm not going to put the ball in harm's way. I thought they utilized him a little bit better today in terms of the run game as well. That's what a staple of the Hugh Freeze offense has typically been, quarterback run stuff. They've run some option today and had some success. But really, with all the noise going on around him, I think he's done a nice job of focusing and blocking the rest of that out.
How would they respond as a team, but how would he specifically respond as a leader of this offense? This is a guy who's had an up and down last 3 weeks. You get benched, you throw 4 picks, you come back last week, throw a pick. And so mentally, where was he going to be at? Doesn't turn the ball over today, averaging about 16 yards of completion, getting the ball to Coleman and Smith, his wide receivers downfield. And so, I think for this offense, that's a boost of confidence for them after all that they've been through over the last couple weeks.
We're very curious to see about that bad offensive line that Oklahoma had and having 5 wide receivers out on that availability report, only 116 yards of total offense down in the Plains. We'll get you caught up in those highlights and the rest of how that game continues to play out in just a little bit. But you're talking about a stunner. This was a game maybe State was watching early. Wildcats. It was a wild finish down in Oxford. We'll get you highlights of that one coming up. Oh, Lane, praying to the college football gods. Arch Manning, dime to DeAndre Moore. Oh, he looked injured? Nah, he was all right. Celebrating. Hook 'em by 8.
This halftime report is presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Welcome back to the Auto Owners Insurance halftime report. Benjamin Watson, Chris Doran, Peter Burns. How about undefeated Ole Miss, who's had 600 yards of total offense in all 4 of their games? They were striping the SIP. And how about the stripe that Brock Vandagriff throws right here? 4th and 7. Ole Miss had a 93% chance to win the game according to the probability. It changed quickly.
PB, it was a great throw, as you mentioned, but how about the decision by Mark Stoops to go for it there in 4th and 7 rather than punting like he did against Georgia?
You got to have a little luck as well, too. Devin Winsat fumbles, but how about that? Teammate there at the right place, right time.
Caddis on the spot. Caddis on the spot. There you go, tight end.
Trying to hype up the tight end.
Yeah, man.
Look at
it.
Look, Mom.
No,
I did it.
I'm not blocking anybody because I'm trying to get this touchdown.
Hey, but Wildcats haven't had any luck all season long. They finally get it. Now, how about this? Jackson Dart on 4th and 11. Heaves it.
Go ahead, Benjamin.
Pre-scoring gets
Pre-scoring
it.
on the spot.
Another tight end.
Pre-scoring on the spot. Another tight end.
Is that a thing? Are you trying to make it a thing?
Yeah,
I don't know. Is it a thing?
I think I am. The
All
tight
right.
ends keep balling. We're going to do it.
How about J.J. Weaver? On the spot. J.J. Weaver on the spot.
That was
Huge sack right there that moves Ole Miss out of field goal range. Caden Davis, your Saturday stud. This was Austin Country Club re-teeing off the first tee.
Vandy's kicker in overtime, a double overtime there when they had a chance to tie it. You mentioned it, PB. The breaks finally went Kentucky's way, and they get a massive upset victory on the road at Oxford.
There's not out of bounds over on the left at Austin Country Club, just so you know. Kentucky upsets number 6 Ole Miss 20-17. Coach Stoops, how you feeling about it?
It means a lot because, we started tough. We have a brutal schedule, and our guys just keep on fighting, keep on coming back. We took the number 1 down to the wire, and that's no fluke. But yet, we have so much work to do. We know that. We know who we are, but I love these kids. Their coaches. Coaches have done a remarkable job.
Congratulations on the win, Coach.
Appreciate it.
This is one of the top defenses in the SEC and maybe in the country. It's tough going against them every day, but we make each other better. And they had a great game. They were able to pick us up when we weren't doing well, we were able to move the ball whenever they needed some time.
When we just spoke with Coach Stoops, he was pretty emotional after letting that game against then #1 Georgia slip through your fingers. How gratifying is this win in your first SEC road test?
Yes, ma'am. I just got to give all the glory to the Lord. You know, He's put us here. Great opportunity for this, and just came out here and made it happen. Couldn't be more happier right now, and hopefully the guys feel the same way.
They do. Highest ranked road win since 1977. They would take down 4th-ranked Penn State. I was -2 at that point. What a win for Mark Stoops there. What impressed you the most, though?
A lot impressed me. Just the way that they have, ridden the wave of this season. That South Carolina game, they looked abysmal. Vandagriff throws for about 30 yards. They come back and take Georgia to the wire. You're wondering how they're going to play. They go on the road and beat the #6 team in the country in Ole Miss. But the defense, CD, the way the defense really controlled this football game from the outset. They only allowed Jackson Dart to complete 1 of 7 passes over 20 yards, and that's what this Ole Miss offense does. This is a high-flying offense, great in the passing game, and they were able to really smother the wide receivers as well, even with their best DB out in Maxwell Hairston. And so it was impressive, the defensive game plan, the way that they came and pulled no punches from them, dictated the game to the Ole Miss offense.
This was a Mark Stoops special, right? A gritty, gutsy performance. It didn't look pretty at all times. You only scored 20 points. If you told me that Kentucky scored 20, I'd have thought that they got beat by double digits here. But you mentioned the defense. They were tremendous, not only in limiting the explosive plays. How about third downs? Ole Miss's offense goes 1 of 10 on third down. Never really got any rhythm going. Started to run the ball better in the third quarter, but then it was Kentucky that was making plays when they had to have them. Offensively, as I mentioned, not great, but the throw from Vandagriff on 4th and 7 and the decision. Again, we were debating, is he going to lean on the defense?
He didn't do it against Georgia. No. Never got the ball back except for like 15 seconds.
And in that field position right there, I give him a lot of credit for making a decision that's probably uncomfortable for a defensive-minded head coach.
Mark Stoops on the spot right there. Dane Key as well, too. Another 100-yard game for him. 8 catches, 105 yards. Jaden Blue hitting the hole like I like to hit Torchy's Tacos. Longhorns up 8 at the break.
On the mountaintop, at long last. The more things change, the more they remain the same. Wilder goes back a century. It's like Ali and Frazier. You go take what belongs to you. Let me in.
They just going to leave that piano out in the field? Is somebody go get that one? My goodness.
How about my boy B-Dub over here? He's nervous. I feel it. I feel the energy.
I'm excited, man.
A lot of energy in this one. Anytime Taylon Green goes back, I have no idea for Arkansas if it's a touchdown or interception. This one happened to be all the way to the house early.
Dime there to Isaac Tesla. Some explosiveness from the Arkansas offense, but A&M said, hey, we're not going to be outdone. We'll have our own explosiveness from our receivers as well.
How about that Marcel Reed? This is what CD did to his defenders back in the day. Watch. Peace.
I don't know about that.
He didn't have that speed.
I can see you doing that. Noah Thomas, a guy that shows up. We talk about Noah Thomas all the time.
Jaquindon Jackson.
This guy right here.
Gets it done. 8-yard touchdown. Woo Pig Sooie. Embrace the hog. That's what Sam Pittman said. 14-7. Then Marcel Reed. No Connor Wegman in this one.
PB, that came off of a turnover down there at their own 10-yard line. Arkansas giving up 7 points there. Turnovers have been the difference. 2 for Arkansas, none for Texas A&M, and we're all knotted up.
This will be the last game between these two over there in Jerry World. David Benda. The G is silent because real G's move in silence like lasagna. 14-6. Ball game.
This halftime report is presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Welcome back to SEC College Football presented by Sonic. And what's been an upset Saturday? Arch Manning playing in place of Quinn Ewers today has put up a couple of deep balls. Texas, though, clinging to an 8-point lead at the half. And with that, we welcome you back to Austin. Tom Hart, Cole Kublik, Alyssa Lang down on the field. Let's start with the Bulldogs. What has Mississippi State done right so far today?
I love the offensive strategy. Don't try to go fast. Don't try to complicate things for your quarterback. If you're going to mix and match some things, let the offensive line do that. They've mixed the run schemes with the same play calls, and they've drugged this thing out. Only 5 possessions for the Texas offense.
Let's take a look at today's Fubo TV keys to the game. And Arch Manning with great numbers, and in addition to that, hitting big.
May have been a simple plan, but stacking on plays from last week. They hit the back out of the backfield on this a week ago. Defender comes up. Now you're going to get the receiver to the corner and take advantage to get the touchdown pass. And then also DeAndre Moore again. Arch Manning sees man coverage. He's not afraid to take a hit, stand in the pocket, and he delivers a beautiful deep ball.
Stuns a habit. Fewest rush yards in the first half for Texas since their 2017 rivalry game against Oklahoma. Only 10 yards on the ground for the Longhorns. Arch is 15 of 19 for 202. He had a deep ball dropped. What about the decision of State to bring pressure before that last Texas touchdown?
That's one thing I want to see from Coleman Holtzer, the defensive coordinator for Mississippi State also, Tom, is do you continue to try to go after Arch Manning? You've gotten to him, but he's made you pay multiple times.
So Texas trying to establish the ground game. They get a huge hole in their longest run of the day, courtesy of Jadon Blue. Rips off 19.
Everybody thought the running back injuries in fall camp were going to be devastating to this Texas football team. And here comes Jadon Blue, who's been excellent for the Longhorns offense so far. Great cut back inside in a huge alley.
Steve Sarkisian was really impressed with Blue's performance against Monroe last week, a career-high 124 and 3 touchdowns, and he said he did that.
Ruling on the field, the runner was down prior to the ball becoming loose. The previous play is under review.
And take another look at this one. He did that while less than 100% and still injured, but he knew the program needed to be on the field. Take a look at the tail end of this play. Was he indeed down before the ball was jarred loose? Stone Blanton in there to strip it away. He did punch it loose before Blue was down. And now the question will be if there was a clear and immediate recovery, and indeed Blanton pounces on it. And it looks like Mississippi State is making its own breaks again, the defensive side of the ball.
This SWAT from Stone Blanton is exceptional. Every defensive coordinator, coach, they all work on attacking the football. Look at that. That's a punch, not a SWAT. He gets the fist right on the pigskin. And as you stated, Tom, appears to pop out just a little bit before Jadon Blue hits the turf.
One win in program history against number 1. They have other wins against Texas. Jackie Sherrill famously motivated the team in 1992 by castrating a cow on the practice field. He said afterwards, after some negative media attention, well, the calf didn't seem too embarrassed. And lo and behold, whatever your motivation, it worked. They came in here and got the win. Your old offensive line coach had something to do with that, didn't he?
Rick Trickett loved telling that story, telling us about it, that he was a part of that. And we all just used to look around and complete befuddlement as to why that would motivate anyone to go play better football.
Well, the story goes that Trickett was supposed to do it only with the offensive line, but the cow got loose. And so they had to chase it down, and it took a couple of defensive backs to finally stop it. Now the whole team was involved.
Hold on, you're telling me DBs actually wrangled a cow?
That's the story from State icon Everett Kennard, who's been driving the buses there for about, I don't know, 60 years. They left the specimen behind, by the way, in a jar in the locker room, and the Texas equipment staff was none too pleased about that. That is a story that is college football lore that's just weird enough. I'm not sure what's taking so long on this review. Maybe yardage.
After further review, the runner lost possession of the ball prior to hitting the ground, recovered by the defense. Therefore, will be 1st and 10 at the Texas 46-yard line for Mississippi State.
So Blanton with the takeaway, and Mississippi State has it in Texas territory. What a play by Stone Blanton.
Well, speaking of balls out, Stone Blanton does an excellent job here with the fist right on the football.
We got to put you back on the field. This is not working.
I thought that was a great play. He put his fist right on there, punches it loose.
This is a problem. Short field for Michael Van Buren and Mississippi State. Play action. And comeback route for Kevin Coleman. Let's check in with Alyssa.
Tom, I caught up with Mississippi State head coach Jeff Lebby coming out of halftime. I asked him what he thought of the rotation at quarterback between Michael Van Buren and Chris Parson in the first half. He said it was good. We're going to continue to follow that pattern that we saw from them in the first half. He's mostly frustrated at the opportunities he feels like they left out there. Certainly that offensive drive to end the half.
On 2nd and 2, straight ahead run. And a first down by Davon Booth. Well, with each and every snap that Mississippi State takes still in this game, there were heavy underdogs coming in. You could sense the confidence start to build on that visiting sideline.
Just a little bit, but I think Jeff Lebby's right. You start to creep into this territory, you have to come up with some touchdowns at some point in time, and there's at least one that was on the board. If Chris Parsons get rid of that football a little bit earlier, I think they come away with 6, but have stalled out near the red zone so far.
One of the other things I noticed, too, guys, coming out of the locker room, this Mississippi State team is juiced up. Lebby said, energy's not a problem. I told him, one play at a time, go finish it.
Play action again. Pressure, the ball's loose. And Texas with the strip and the recovery, Vernon Broughton. And the Longhorns rip it right back.
More hand removal from the Texas defensive lineman, Vernon Broughton here. Watch him swat the hands down, dip the shoulder underneath, and just battle right in for the strip sack to give the Longhorns possession again in Austin.
1,000 miles of gravel, I've been walking.
It's a sunscreen kind of Saturday afternoon with temperatures in the 90s, and Texas defense finally turning up the heat with its first takeaway of the game. Arch Manning at quarterback, comes to the near side, and an easy pitch and catch with Matthew Golden. Just short of the first down, 2nd and less than a foot. Manning looking. Everybody covered. A flag comes flying in. May have been a face mask, and Arch gets bottled up right at the line of scrimmage. But a glancing tug of the face mask when he was trying to get out of the pocket, and a readjustment for the freshman quarterback.
He'll be frustrated. Had that post from the slot. Didn't see it quickly enough, and then had a little pressure, had to try to elude.
Be an automatic first down.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 90. 15-yard penalty from the run, automatic first down.
Kai McClendon. Alyssa, what's the latest with freshman receiver Ryan Wingo?
Yeah, worth keeping an eye on him. I've been watching him on the sidelines. He took that big hit in the first half. Haven't seen him come back out. I noticed he does have a brace on his right knee. Texas doesn't do formal injury reports, but I'll keep you posted on what I see down here.
He does have his helmet on the sideline, but doesn't look like he's going to return anytime soon. Wisner gets the carry for Texas.
Well, that's an excellent job by DeMonte Russell, number 9, defensive lineman for Mississippi State, kind of battling through the double team, diving down across the line of scrimmage. That play had legs. He kept it from going.
Injured Mississippi State defensive lineman with a 2nd and 6 forthcoming. DeMonte Russell, senior out of Jackson, in his 6th season.
He had 2 offensive linemen on top of him, Tom, and he kind of dove to try to go make that play, and appears as though he could have kind of caught a knee to the head or the face when he was going down attempting to make that tackle.
And he had a hard time getting back up and then went back down. And they're still tending to DeMonte Russell, who's the first in his family to earn a college degree. And he seemingly was destined to attend Mississippi State. And in fact, he chose number 9 as a tribute to former state wide receiver Malik Deer. Was a starter last year, part-time for this Mississippi State defense, which has seen incredible turnover. The team as a whole has had plenty of turnover. And the program, 5 head coaches over 5 years, with Zach Arnett lasting just 1, and following Joe Moorhead's firing after the 2019 season and the meteoric career of the late Mike Leach in Starkville. Now, if you go back and look at State's last game of the season last year, Thanksgiving weekend against Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl, the turnover is mind-blowing relative to what it looks like with starters today. And especially with the production that they had with some longtime linebackers anchoring that defense. 8 of those starters graduated, 8 transferred, 3 have gone on to the league. Only 1 starter returning, and that was Corey Ellington.
That is wild. 52 new players on this roster, Tom, and it's going to be tough to build depth and continuity when you have that kind of turnover on one squad.
Texas back to the ground game. Weisner with the carry. It's a Mississippi State team that seemingly has cleaned up their rush defense. They got torched by Arizona State. The Sun Devils ran it 57 times for 346 yards.
And that was one that was baffling by the alignment and the structure, something that Stone Bland told us, hey, a lot of this is on the players. We got to get lined up correctly. We have to know our assignments, but it felt like there was a failure to bring extra bodies to the line of scrimmage in that game on a regular basis.
And movement on the left side for Texas. They're looking at a 3rd and 3.
False start, offense number 85, 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
That's Gunnar Helm, who played a key role in the Longhorns' huge win at the Big House. He had 7 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown.
He's been fantastic for this group this year. Obviously, you don't want to jump off sides, but he's added a little extra physicality at the tight end position, showing you can stretch the field down the seams.
So 3rd and 8 to the perimeter, trying for a screen, and it's busted free by Bond up the sideline and forced out of bounds. Redemption for Helm with the block, but there is a flag on the far sideline.
Holding on the offense, number 85.
Tom, I was just going to say how much I love the play call, because you know you got a ticked off tight end out there, and he's going to want to get after somebody's rear end. So you go to the screen game to Isaiah Bond and Helm, just hands on the outside on those shoulder pads. I don't think anything that he did prevented Stone Bland from making that play, but you have to have your hands inside the framework. Going to get that called almost every time.
Sometimes the block was too good to be true. So consecutive flags against Gunnar Helm, and it leaves the Longhorns with a 3rd and 17. 3-man rush, they drop 8. Manning surveys, finds Helm, and Helm taken down at the 31.
Tom, you and I talked to Arch about it yesterday, just knowing about how to get through progressions, that poise in the pocket. Now he has to settle for something a little bit in front of the first down marker, but just that calm in the pocket that he's got, it's so unique for a young quarterback.
Well, after the strip sack, an empty possession for Texas, perhaps. This is a 49-yard attempt for Bert Auburn. He's hit some big kicks in his Texas career. Got the distance. It's off of the upright and doinks through. Flag on the play. It was a 4th and 8. Offside penalty against State. They're going to go for it. They're going to send the offense back on the field and take the points off the board.
Offside, defense number 7. 5-yard penalty for previous spot.
How about this decision from Steve Sarkisian to send the offense back out?
I think it shows some confidence where you are with your offense, specifically the young man directing traffic. Bottom of your screen, you see Mario Craver coming flat down the line of scrimmage and just got a little zealous there.
So 4th and 3. They're 4 of 7 on the season on 4th down. Manning wants to throw. It is incomplete and a turnover on downs. They took points off the board and they give the ball back to Mississippi State in an 8-point game. Texas has struggled to run the ball this entire game. They go to the air on 4th and short, and Manning with the miss. Mississippi State back on offense with an opportunity.
Everything's bigger in Texas. From Bevo to DKR to headlines. It's been 3 years since we learned the Horns were joining the SEC. Now finally their first conference game. See? Around here, even the weights are bigger.
Look at Horns, baby.
Well, we knew it'd be a headline with the first SEC game for Texas. We didn't know it had the possibility to be a stunner. Second half, opening drive, Texas fumbled it. State gave it right back, and then Longhorns turned it over on downs after they took points off the board. Little sweep action for Mario Craver, and he eludes the first and steps out of bounds after picking up a Mississippi State first down.
Okay, so back-to-back coaches, we've seen a player, important player to their roster, make a pretty big mistake and go right back to him. I love the confidence from Jeff Lebby. Craver makes a mistake on the field goal block, jumping off sides. Texas can't capitalize. He says, you know what, we're going to give you the football here to open up this drive, try to go make a play.
How about the decision to take the points off the board in this game at this moment?
I feel like the game's a little bit too tight to do that. And then the play on top of that, Tom, just very confusing sequence for Steve Sarkisian.
Johnny Daniels motions to the backfield. Leading for Van Buren. Chris Parson found a bit of a gap before he was brought down by Bill Norton, 2-time national champion at Georgia.
Nice cut there from Chris Parsons because the freshman sensation Colin Simmons was crashing the mesh and there was just nowhere to go. Gets back inside to pick up just a few.
Jeff Lebby told us before the game we need to run it and pick up 4 yards on first down to be in position to win this game. And that's where they are now, 2nd and 6.
There's that Bear defense I was telling you about, Tom.
And a squirt free to the near side for Johnny Daniels.
So you've had a couple plays hit in between the tackles. Now you'll go to a Bear defense, which is center and both guards going to be covered. 3 D linemen right in the middle. A little bit of a run stunt there, though. Jeff Lebby calls the run play right into it.
3rd and 1. Daniels again. First down, Mississippi State after the Colin Simmons tackle.
And Colin Simmons a little bit upfield there. The reason that Daniels able to sneak back underneath and pick up first down yardage.
Alyssa talked about the quarterback rotation and Jeff Lebby going back to that with Chris Parson getting some run here. Second possession of the half for State. It is a physical ground game and Johnny Daniels again to near midfield.
So now you're back to a 4-man front, even front, which is a better run look.
Better run look for whom?
For Mississippi State. You can even it up that way. That Bear front, sometimes difficult to manage things in the middle, specifically with the group that can move the way this Texas group can.
48 plays. They've run it 37 times today. Van Buren back in. Wants to throw to the slant. They're keeping it simple for him in the passing game. And a first down to Kevin Coleman.
It's a great read to see off coverage. You know you have the slant. This is one time he missed a little bit earlier in the game. If you recall, he was a little bit late. Comes right out of that with the RPO.
They have followed every first down pass with the run to see if that trend continues. And it's a keeper on the zone read and a hog-tie tackle made by David Benda.
Boy, it's the right call on the read for Michael Van Buren, but boy, did they have space if he hands this football off up top. I felt the defense was misaligned a little bit and had a massive gap there between guard and tackle on the right side.
Coleman in motion, little touch to him. And a reverse off of it. Craver finds the edge, multiple flags, and this one coming back. Everybody saw that. We got 4 pieces of laundry on the field. McKylan Pounders got caught with his hand in a very big cookie jar.
Block in the back. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Well, the penalty is obvious, but the play call from Jeff Lebby, the idea that they've got to try and make something happen, that's just, it'd be down and two-hand touch. It doesn't take much to draw the flag, but the right call.
It does not. The call was there. Some misdirection on top of the run success that they've had, and McKylan Pounders just doesn't have to do it. Bottom line, you just don't have to do it there. It's played well by Michael Taft, but I like my odds with Mario Craver one-on-one in the open field there.
So at what point does Mississippi State, which has run the ball fairly effectively, need to be more aggressive?
We might be looking at it here, Tom. I don't know if a couple of runs going to be able to get you in first-yard contention.
2nd and 18. And the receivers slip. Trying to find Traore. 3rd and 18.
So Trey Moore checks back in. He'll be rushing off one edge. Colin Simmons, who we've mentioned, the freshman, off the other edge. He'll slide Vernon Broughton down inside. This is not straight drop back territory against this front.
And Buren trying to be heard over 101,000. Play clock's at 4. 2. And he gets smothered in the backfield by Colin Simmons. A stop and a squash and a huge sack for the freshman.
Oh, the jump off the football is elite. Colin Simmons is literally following this football off the line of scrimmage. As soon as that ball snapped, he was already leaning into it, and that's just a tough spot for McKylan Pounders to be in. You have to have massive depth and be quick off the football with your set to even try to combat that speed rush.
8th tackle for loss for the Texas defense today. A boomer of a punt chases him back inside the 5. Bolden makes a first man miss, stays on his feet, and turns it upfield to the 25-yard line. Nick Barmira with a 54-yarder, and 20 of that taken back by Silas Bolden. Texas clinging to an 8-point lead in its SEC opener.
Little studio update. Time for the unexpected performance of the day, brought to you by J-Lab. Peyton Thorne, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns on the day. No turnovers. They're up 21-10.
Yeah, nobody ever doubted Auburn's quarterback situation. 1st and 10 for Arch Manning in Texas. Into the sunlight, trying to find some room for Silas Bolden. Tom Hart, Cole Kublik, Alyssa Lang. Number 1, Texas, 4-0 on the season, a 10-game home win streak. And this offense has been humming all season, averaging over 511 yards and nearly 48 points a game. Longhorns have been held in check. Manning, long throw complete to Jonte Cook, and he was a shoestring away from breaking that one. Corey Ellington, the touchdown saving catch after a gain of 31.
Excellent job stepping up in the pocket by Arch Manning. Just a little deep crossing route. Man coverage. Probably going to have advantage with the speed that these wide receivers for the Longhorns have. Nice throw from Arch as well.
This offense has certainly been pass heavy today. Leisner, the running back, and Another mistake up front.
False start, offense number 52. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
DJ Campbell, the right guard, started every game at right guard last year. This is a veteran and large O-line.
Well, Campbell, part of that signing class that you referenced, Tom, came in summer of 21. Cam Williams, DJ Campbell, Kelvin Banks, Hayden Connor, Cole Hudson. When Sark first trying to start building it that way.
To the ground. And Wisner muscles his way up the middle. This is a Steve Sarkisian offense that has featured a 1,000-yard rusher for 12 consecutive years. Last year was Jonathan Brooks, who went over 1,100. But they have not had consistency in the run game today. Nice step through for Wisner. Let's check in with Alyssa Lang.
Tom, Cole, you guys have talked about some of the players unavailable for Mississippi State today. A few minutes ago, you saw number 9 defensive end DeMonte Russell come out of the game. I watched him go into the locker room. I'm being told they're still evaluating him to make a decision about whether or not he can come back into this one.
They only have 73 players dressed. And a late scratch was Isaac Smith, their leading tackler. Ty McClendon back in the game right over the A-gap between Majors and Campbell on the right side of the Texas line. 3rd and short. And a timeout taken pre-snap by Jeff Levy. Coleman Hutzler's defense has been fantastic.
Timeout, Mississippi State. Their first of the half.
He was on the staff here in Texas a few years ago with Tom Herman. And they were misaligned and had to burn that timeout. You can see Hutzler frustrated having to use it on 3rd and 1.
Yeah, he was going out to Brian Lanier. Somebody not lined up correctly. Frustration that they had to burn that timeout.
But one thing we've learned, that even though there's coach-to-player communication in college football that goes to one player who shares the signs, it's still a lot of people using signals to get it to the other 10 guys, and that eye discipline and communication to be able to get the right setup it hadn't gone away.
I think a lot of people kind of forgot that, Tom. We heard about this helmet communication, that you still have to distribute that call to everyone else, and as you stated, most teams for certain portions of that unit, offense or defense, still using signals a lot of the time.
So 3rd and 1 coming off the Mississippi State timeout, and Arch under center. Straight ahead, and there's a Texas first down. Jarrett Gibson, true freshman out of IMG Academy, had a touchdown in the Michigan game.
He was going to bypass the fullback belly here.
I mean,
Sark throwing it back.
He is a guy who he's certainly not stuck in the past, but he appreciates proven results, especially from an offensive standpoint. We had the discussion with him surrounding their play action game, and he said, listen, it worked for Bill Walsh. It worked for Gruden.
Snap infraction.
It worked for Andy Reid.
5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
This is where Texas has shot itself in the foot today.
Yes.
Jake Majors is pointing across the Mississippi State, saying they simulated the snap count.
He was pointing at one of the Mississippi State defenders, official right there spotting the football, and obviously upset about something he felt like was happening on the other side.
The offense uses a clap. Defense is not allowed to clap. You also can't simulate it via voice inflection or movement. Arch with a pump, looking to go deep. Everybody's covered, so he uses his legs. Oh my! He took a hit. Got folded up, and Blanton gave him the business. Deontay Anderson low, Blanton up high.
Almost looked like Arch wanted to go down a little bit. Twist on the bottom of your screen. Pressure not even really there, but late. Needs to get out of the pocket. Took a shot, but right back up on his feet.
I mentioned earlier that Archie and Olivia, his grandparents, call him before every game and remind him, get down, run out of bounds, don't take hits. Oh, what a fantastic block. And Manning running again, stays on his feet, and he is to the pylon. And he is out of bounds at the 1-yard line. 26-yard scamper for Arch Manning.
It was an excellent job out of the play action fake to just understand, go ahead and get out of the pocket. And here he is just trucking a deep in. Was the knee down before the ball crosses the goal line?
Keep in mind that run came a play after he got sandwiched by the heart of the state defense. Great look from our pylon cam. They're going to review this one. What do you see at second glance?
The right knee is the only thing I think that is even close. Just let's see where the football is. If it breaks that plane before that right knee.
And by breaking the plane, the way he extended it, it's touching the pylon. The feet are in bounds. The hand is in bounds. Yeah, you're right. It was the plane because the elbow got the pylon. It almost looks simultaneous. 100,000 here at Memorial Stadium certainly think he was in.
Really impressive part of that, Tom, is out of that play action fake, begins to climb the pocket with the understanding that he can leave, but not immediately does leave. Still allows some time for the play to develop, and when it doesn't, that's when he decides to tuck the football and run.
So the elbow hits the pylon at the same time the knee comes down. The question will be, was the ball over the plane essentially before the elbow hit the pylon? Because that's a good indicator of the timing of when the knee went down. And Ewers, his biggest cheerleader, just off to the side. No pads today for Ewers. He kept everything in bounds before that right knee came down.
I even think part of it's going to be a judgment call on when you think a portion of his quad actually possibly hits the ground. I don't know if definitively you can see exactly when it first makes contact.
In college football, it must be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field, and after a lengthy discussion, the call on the field was out of bounds at the 1. And Williamson, after conference,
after further review, the ruling on the field stands. It's first down.
He thought he had it for a second.
Last second instruction as they look at a 1st and goal. So Manning out of the shotgun. And to the goal line. In. Touchdown, Quintavious Wiesner. They made certain he was over that time, and Texas able to extend its lead.
Ruling on the field with a touchdown. That play is under further review.
And that's probably coming back.
Excellent second effort, but it does appear as though that knee hits the ground before the ball crosses the plane.
Remember, this play, this drive, I should say, started after a fantastic punt for Mississippi State by a long punt return by Silas Bolden.
After further review, the runner was down prior to the ball breaking the goal line. The ball be placed inside the 1-yard line. It'll be second down.
They've already covered 74 yards on 8 plays.
See how Texas gets to the line of scrimmage here, Tom. I talked to a couple members of this offensive staff, and they said a priority in the offseason was tempo in the high red zone, so inside the 10. Wanting to try to get a little bit of an advantage on defenses at certain points in time. So huddle, get up quickly, maybe snap the football right away.
Jarrett Gibson is now in at tailback, true freshman out of Gainesville, Florida. Manning quarterback sneak. No signal. And they're going to rule him down outside the goal line. Third down coming up. Jeff Lebby said to pull off an upset, our focus becomes small, control what we can control. Every little detail, hand placement, hat placement, everything matters to pull off the upset. So now 3rd and goal. Less than the length of the football. And the play clock's getting low. Sarkisian has to use a timeout. He is not happy that the play clock wasn't properly set in his estimation. I think part of his complaint is that they took so long to spot the ball and to figure out whether or not they were in, that play clock started running before the Texas was ready to get a game play.
The play clock was not reset upon my request.
There you go. So the play clock wasn't reset after all. Here's the Arch Manning run that took it right down to the goal line. A couple of runs since then, including the Manning sneak and Wisner trying to get in. Down at the 1 when his knee came down. So 3rd and goal. Manning under center again. Sneak again. This time half of his body is over the goal line. And now a signal. Touchdown, Texas. Cole, you're an offensive lineman. That's got to feel like a win if you're one of those big fellas up front after a couple of stalemates.
Absolutely. You just bear crawl, four-point stance, try to drive your feet, get any kind of movement, allow your quarterback to just ride that wave into the end zone. Look how low those shoulder pads and white helmets are. Coming off the football, excellent push down low at that pile. And Arch Manning can just drive his feet, take it into the end zone.
We started this game talking about what Jake Majors brings to this offense and the security blanket that he is for Arch Manning.
I thought he had a great push in the previous play where they ruled that Arch Manning did not get in. Back-to-back plays where he helped get that initial surge on the goal line. Excellent job.
So a 10-play, 75-yard drive. Auburn for the point after. And he bangs it through. It is now a 21-6 lead for Texas. Longhorns able to cap that long drive with a touchdown plunge as we head to the 4th quarter in Austin. Well, our first visit here, Cole, there is no question this is an SEC atmosphere, and that's what it officially is now, because this has turned into an Austin street party, especially with the Longhorns finding the end zone here to close the 3rd quarter.
Just the scene outside the stadium.
I want to hang with those dudes.
You want to be dyed orange, essentially, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a Ferris wheel outside the stadium.
We got a zip line. It has been a struggle in some respects for Texas today, and Steve Sarkisian moments ago talked to Alyssa Lang about what they need to do better.
Coach, what were you saying to your offense before they finally punched that one in?
Well, just to keep their poise and composure. You know, we're fidgety at the line of scrimmage right now. We're getting a little confrontational post play. Got to get our poise and composure back, minimize the self-inflicted wounds. You know, we put the ball on the ground today a couple times. You know, we dropped the touchdown. We missed a touchdown throw. So just a lot of kind of self-inflicted wounds, but just getting our composure back and executing and finishing the drive.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
So, Cole, there are going to be a lot of people, if Texas is able to hold on and win this thing, that will see that they didn't dominate a team that they were favored by over 35 points against. As we start the 4th quarter with Mississippi State trying to make some noise late, enough play action. Deep ball, wide open and incomplete. Jordan Mosley got twisted and turned around in a missed opportunity for the Dogs.
Now, coverage might be a little bit of a gripe that fans rightfully will have. I just don't always view it that way, as that a team's not good if they struggle with an opponent. Not every game is a blowout. You see Muhammad just giving up on the deep route there, one-on-one. Mississippi State's got some players, receivers, backs. That's one thing Sark was talking to us about yesterday. There's talent on this roster.
Now their second quarterback of the season after Blake Shapen, the Baylor transfer, was injured and lost for the year with a knee injury last week against Florida. Johnny Daniels with the carry will set up a 3rd and medium. Actually just 3rd and 2 now. Van Buren with a change at the line. Play clock in single digits. And the reads seem to be right for Van Buren. That time Johnny Daniels takes advantage for the first down.
An excellent job by Seydou Traore, the tight end, coming flat across the line of scrimmage. Watch him left to right. The little cutoff block there. Just enough space to be able to sneak through for first down yardage.
Quick snap. Oh, he wanted to go deep. Instead, it gets taken down deep. Colton Vasek, after Van Buren was begging for the snap, it's the 9th tackle for loss for the Texas defense.
Albert Reese doesn't get off the football. You'll see Inman on the line of scrimmage for Mississippi State. Just no pass set there. Because of that quick snap that you mentioned, Tom, no rhythm, no expectation for that Mississippi State offensive line.
4 sacks today for the Longhorns. 2nd down 17. Long throw to the perimeter, caught by Kevin Coleman. We're talking with Pete Kwiatkowski, the Texas defensive coordinator, and he's got confidence in the 4 guys up front. And they ruled that one incomplete. He was bobbling it as he went out of bounds, and they'll take that yardage off. If they can influence the quarterback because of their depth and athleticism up front without bringing a 5th or 6th man.
I think it's where they have separated themselves defensively from a year ago. Trey Moore off the edge. Colin Simmons, we've mentioned a couple of times, off the edge. They have a lot more twitch, a lot more speed to be able to bend the outside. Baron Sorrell, who was one of their best pass rushers a year ago, still there, has added some weight, can operate inside also.
Sorrell lined up over right tackle. A play clock extinguished again. And the responsibility for a freshman quarterback to get a play off before it goes to 0. That is the 3rd time the play clock has expired on Michael Van Buren today.
You just wonder a little bit too, Tom, with the look over and then try to get the play in. Is that slowing the process down? Here it comes back to the incompletion to Kevin Coleman. Ball kind of moving on him a little bit as he stepped out.
That was close. He said he didn't have it secured when he stepped out of bounds. So 3rd down 22. Once again, play clock late. It's a 3, 2, 1, 0.
Tommy's a freshman. It's a raucous environment. That can't happen. Just bottom line, cannot happen.
So 3rd and 27. Four-man rush. Van Buren changes his mind. Couldn't pull the trigger. Flag down. He's down at the 25-yard line. Vernon Broughton chased him down. This will be the 10th flag against Mississippi State if it is against the Bulldogs. The officials discussing amongst themselves with their headset communication what they saw, with Jeff Levy watching and waiting with his freshman quarterback. What'd you see?
Left tackle McCaleb Pounders.
There is no foul for face mask on the play. It's third down.
Yeah, because I didn't see it. You'll see Pounders and Johnny Daniels, running back, helping out in protection. We're working on Colin Simmons right here. Now it's physical. They're going at it.
Yeah, they nearly got Pounders with his right hand on Simmons' face mask, it seems.
And then I didn't know if you might go try to throw a flag for holding there, because it did look like Daniels had a little bit of jersey.
Fourth and an acre. Bolden watches it trickle. Did that thing stay in bounds? What a hop. It turns into a 60-yard punt for Nick Barmira. Arch Manning in Texas holding on to a 15-point lead early fourth quarter. Time to check out the Good Hands plays brought to you by Allstate.
Arch Manning's been accurate on the deep ball this afternoon, avoiding pressure there, getting that one downfield to Jonte Cook. Not just throwing the football, physicality, running the football as well, would sneak it in a little bit later after that.
Interesting conversation with Arch and Steve Sarkisian talking about his style of play. This one complete. DeAndre Moore's having a monster game, and from the scope of how he and Quinn Ewers are different, Sark said, listen, Quinn Ewers came in based on what they ran at South Lake Carroll and his athleticism. He's really good at the RPO game. The RPO game is pretty new to Arch. He's great in play action. We love his deep ball. Good vision on this run by Wisner. Wisner takes it to midfield and finally gets escorted out of bounds after a 36-yard run.
Boy, Wisner is going to be head up with a linebacker who's unblocked right there. And he just shakes Nick Mitchell. Circle button. And then tack on about another 20.
So what Sark and Arch kind of talked to us about was when you have something that's not your strength, we tend to work on that a little bit more. So Arch has taken a lot of reps in the RPO game to try and refine that part of his repertoire. There's Jarrett Gibson with the carry.
Tom, I think you've already seen him develop in that area just a little bit more. We saw it earlier, the little sidearm flip out to the back in the flat.
It was a very Ewers-like delivery, wasn't it?
He didn't do that the first two games, so I think he's already learning that there are different ways to get the ball out quickly, and watching Quinn Ewers definitely helps with that.
On 2nd and 4, the ground game has finally been turned up, and you wonder if this depleted Mississippi State defense is running on fumes now.
I talked to Quinn on the field for a little while before the game and said it's so cool that both of you can be so successful in this scheme yet be so technically and fundamentally different. He said, I will say this, year 2 was the biggest leap for me in this system, and it will be for Arch as well.
Second half, Texas has turned it up. Quinn lost all the bling. I wonder who the holder is now. Play action. Manning eyes downfield and throws it across his body and completes it to Jarrett Gibson. There you go.
Poised, Tom. I mean, calm. You just can't coach these things. And then maybe a little bit of Quinn Ewers kind of keeping a play alive there. Just whoop, spin it out late.
Big gap on the right side for Wisner. He's inside the 10, and he's in the end zone. Flag on the play back at the 19-yard line.
Holding.
Coming back.
Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty for previous spot. 2 second down. Thank you.
7th penalty charged at Texas today. All 7 have been charged to the offensive line or the tight ends.
Yeah, Cal Flood not going to like a lot of this film. I think it's 54. Cole Hudson, middle of your screen, little yank on the jersey right there. Which you wonder, how's that possible? No tape, no gloves, no wristbands. He's as old school as they get, but just grabbed a little bit too much jersey right there. I love Cole Hudson. I love his game. He's just an old school meathead offensive lineman, and right there just didn't let go early enough.
Real recognized real. A little bit behind, but the catch made and a turn upfield by Ryan Wingo, who left the game in the second quarter with an apparent injury, now wearing a knee brace on that right leg. Wingo was a big get for Texas. They beat out Missouri for its home state product at a St. Louis University high school. Sark loved learning about the man when he went to visit. Swing out. This is Golden, and Golden shoved out of bounds, but another flag and likely holding again. Sark was telling us, I knew Ryan Wingo was a fit for our culture when I made the in-home visit, and it was an entire neighborhood party, and he watched Ryan Wingo work the room and the entire house and help with the food and help with the family and the friends. Then finally sit down with Sark.
Holding offense number 0. 2-yard penalty.
It's DeAndre Moore called for holding. Sark said, you know, when you go out on recruiting visits, sometimes you step out of your comfort zone. He said, I had a turkey rib. I'd never had a turkey rib before.
I had never heard of one before that story. But I talked to Taylor Searles, the director of recruiting, about Ryan Wingo. She said he is amazing. Just one of the most high-profile recruits that they've signed, yet he goes out and recruits for Texas in the offseason. He wants to go meet the guys that might be coming in and try to help get them on campus, and said it really is all about family. I think he had 40-plus family members here for the spring game.
3rd and 9. Manning wide open, lobs it end zone. It is DeAndre Moore again. 27-yard strike. Great patience by Manning and Moore to wait for that one to develop.
Well, bunch formation to the right. Corey Ellington playing that field safety spot, just bites down a little bit too quickly. Easy pickings for Arch Manning.
Manning has completed 25 passes in this game to 25 different receivers. Moore with a 100-yard day, a couple of scores.
There's been a lot of movement, a lot of shuffling in the secondary for Mississippi State. And you'll see Ellington here just up a little bit too much. Have to grab depth there. Can't leave one safety covering the entire back end. Arch Manning knew he had it early and delivers an accurate ball to the end zone. 28-6, Texas. 9:30 left in the game.
SEC Network Football is presented by the new Fun 99 menu at Sonic. Live free, eat Sonic.
We're looking at a list of the schools that entered a new conference and won that league championship in its first year, including Frank Beamer and Virginia Tech in 2004. Texas trying to join that list. By the way, misspoke a moment ago. 10 different receivers on the 25 completions for Arch Manning today. Still an impressive number. Very much so. So Texas enters the SEC. Here they are in their first game. They're invited in July of 2021. News took SEC Media Day by storm that their neighbors north of the Red River would be joining them, and they'd be coming this way. And then early exit agreement said, let's facilitate this move. Finally, formally invited in 23. In July 2024, it was a big party this summer. Oklahoma trying to make some waves by getting a win in the loveliest village on the plain today, after perhaps a comeback against Auburn. Pump and go. Deep ball from Van Buren. Nice touch. It is caught. Mario Craver. And somehow Van Buren threads the needle for a 46-yard gain.
Big time throw. And here you see the route Mario Craver man covers, almost a scissors concept, and just in between the safety. Excellent job holding on to that ball.
Oh, State not done just yet. Back to the ground. And Davon Booth.
Craver, Tom, you go back to the spring game. When I was on the call, Jeff Levy raved about this young man. He said, we don't understand why nobody else recruited him. We're surprised that we got him once we got on the field, got in pads, and saw everything that he was capable of.
Four-star recruit. He was in the Under Armour All-America game at the end of last year. His high school team, Clay Chalkville in Birmingham, went 14-0 his senior year. He was a 1,000-yard receiver and a sub-11-second 100-meter sprinter. Trying to find something up the middle. Anthony Hill says not so fast. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. And a left hand from Davon Booth.
Excellent job by Anthony Hill jumping inside that puller. Not 100% sure I can use the word that Sark described him with on this defense, Tom, and what he adds.
What was it? Third and short here.
Rhymes with brick.
Hole on the outside and a first down run.
But in the most positive way possible, Coach Sark said. He said he brings that edge to our defense. He brings it every day. Folks around the facility will tell you he's a totally different person off the field. His little brother Landon, 11, kind of one of the stars of that Texas facility, and he takes care of him also. Just somebody who does a lot in and around the facility and on the field.
Sidearm sling to the tight end. Vanderbilt transfer Justin Ball. Jahdae Barron another stop.
But you need those tone setters. You need the guys they're going to come out and make sure the intensity is there every day. Not afraid to check somebody else if they're not bringing their lunch pail. I think Anthony Hill.
It's like you and our crew. You're our smelling salts guy.
That's it. That's my role.
Second and a short 9. Back to the ground game in Booth. Alyssa.
This is a really fired up Mississippi State team, guys. We've talked about it throughout the show. Jeff Lebby and what he expects has really already bled into these guys' mentality, the effort, toughness, discipline. They're taking a lot of pride in building this program back brick by brick. Johnny Daniels told me, yeah, we want to bring State back to what it was known for back in the day, 2014 with Dak. I took an ibuprofen and, was sad to see that back in the day reference.
Now 3rd and 5 for Michael Van Buren. We're all old. Van Buren steps through, and he's got easy run to the end zone. A 12-yard touchdown run, and horns down from Van Buren. That'll draw the ire of the Texas fans.
You're going to get a pressure from Anthony Hill Jr. and Broughton just going to kind of play this a little bit inside so that rush lane integrity goes away. And really nice heads up by Anthony Van Buren. Just tuck that football and go. Get north and south into the end zone. Nice run.
Michael Van Buren with his first rushing touchdown of his career. Here's Kyle Ferry for the point after. A 15-point difference with 6:12 to play in the fourth quarter here in Austin.
Today's SEC field trip feels more like an SEC road trip. We're at Circuit of the Americas, where they're getting ready for the biggest weekend ever, because not only is the U.S. Grand Prix one race going to be here once again, but it's also the same weekend the Texas plays host to Georgia. So let's take a spin and see what this track is all about.
No, special thanks to Andy Susek, the VP of Motorsports and a former F2 champion who drove me around the track. That first elevation at turn 1, 133 feet up. It's like speeding up a bunny slope, and he's doing it at about 120 before he throws on the brakes. It was unbelievable in experience. The 3.4-mile track.
As was your description of Anthony as well.
Listen, that guy is the coolest cat I've ever spent time with.
That's not what we heard before the game, actually.
He's doing 150, and he's just talking to me through every S-turn, you know, like you talking O-line play. He's just cool, calm, here's where we're going.
I was referencing when you went that he was absolutely gorgeous. But
there's a little poach kickoff handled at the 28-yard line. That is a big weekend. They're calling it the biggest weekend ever. And if you don't have your hotel room yet, good luck. And if you want to rent out your house, maybe you're making even more money. Sting will be performing October 18th. That's a Friday. Simone Biles tour will be in town. Then Eminem on the concert stage. Same day as number 2 versus number 1. And then the next day, Formula 1 U.S. Grand Prix. It wasn't just the acceleration that he did, it was the braking. It was amazing.
Not anybody can push a brake pad.
Yeah, I wish you could have been in that car. I mean, I would have put you in the back seat, but if you could have been in that car.
They didn't let you drive?
Maybe you come back that weekend and get in an F1 car.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm sure the rooms are readily available.
On 2nd and 3, Wisner with the stop.
I believe our entire crew thought you would be driving, and we were a little confused with that. Why could you not get behind the wheel?
Listen, I have enough outstanding toll tickets in this state. It's a risk just for me to get a rental car. On Davis in motion. Big hole. Wisner tripped up. All right, so let's go ahead and look ahead. Georgia still has to play Alabama tonight, but after seeing both teams, how does Georgia match up with Texas?
Well, I think Georgia matches up fairly well with Texas, but the question that I would have for the rest of the year is how do the other teams match up with the Longhorns? This is a team that's going to be so versatile offensively. If Arch is your quarterback, he's only going to get more and more comfortable. We haven't seen him have to lean on the run game here until late. Wasn't going early, but I think a lot of that was just opportunity.
Left tackle run. Wisner gets hit at the 38-yard line. And go back and watch that one on the iPad. And now all of a sudden that offensive line looking pretty good and moving some bodies around.
Starting to lean a little bit. This that stretch play where Texas can vary how wide they get with it if we have a Mississippi State defender down.
That is Tillman. Dakari Tillman, who's been a wrecker on the defensive side, and he's back to his feet.
But Tom, you have multiple tight ends in this offense. You have dynamic receivers, and one of the things that Sark was telling us is pretty cool. He said, we want to try to get our guys ready for the NFL. You don't play left slot receiver or right outside receiver for us. You play all the receiver positions. Running backs have to catch the ball. They have to block. It's a prerequisite to play receiver in this system to have to block out on the perimeter, something you're going to do or you're not going to play. So I think there are just so many different ways that this team can beat you. If it's Arch, it's the play action, it's the deep ball. When Quinn Ewers in the game, how quickly he gets the football out, the different angles, the RPO game, so dangerous.
Still tending to Tillman. By the way, part of that conversation was about the NFL evaluation. He said, we want our guys to show up with film that's impeccable. We don't want them to take knocks on their film of things they can't do. So that's behind the cross training. By the way, mentioned it a moment ago, there's a huge one tonight between Georgia and Alabama. Maybe you're aware.
I have been told.
22 straight regular season wins for Georgia, and that span their 2 losses Both in the postseason have come to Bama, only team to beat Georgia since 2021. Nick Saban and Miss Terry were fantastic in game day today, and they'll be under the lights tonight on ABC, number 2 versus number 4. How about that? Since 21, 44 wins against everybody not named Bama.
I understand the Saban effect in him not being there, but you look at this Alabama offense, I think they have found their identity. Physically, they have their offensive line in place. They're going to run Jalen Milroe. It's not a question of whether or not they can or will or won't do it. It's going to be a part of who they are. And defensively, I'm anxious to see how that works out. Yeah.
Wow, that did not work out for Texas. Gilmore came flying in.
Backside of a counter play. High risk, but not a read there for Arch Manning. So ball just going to the back, and one where they just got you on. Who you got tonight, Tom?
I did not know I was going to be put on the spot like this.
Now you are.
Manning after the play action with a rollout at the sideline for Matthew Golden. I think Kalen DeBoer knows how to use a running quarterback, and I know you spoke about this during the week. I think Jalen Milroe has an opportunity to get it done with his legs tonight.
If I'm going to be in a game like that, I want the quarterback that can manage things when they break down, because let's be honest, both of these defenses are going to force breakdowns. They're going to happen. I think Alabama gets it done at home.
Back to the ground game. And Wisner. So already one quarterback injured. There's a timeout taken by Mississippi State. And after the last throw by Arch Manning, maybe a little hitch in his giddy up. Or either that or he's just doing his best Peyton impersonation.
Kind of pointed to the hip there a little bit.
3:11 to go in regulation here to the studio. Peter Burns.
You guys were talking about Eminem. Will the real Peyton Thorne please stand up? Auburn was up 21-10. It was a pick 6 for Oklahoma. Oklahoma wins. Now 5-0 all time on the road against SEC opponents. 27-21.
All right, Peter, thanks. Arch back on the field on a 2nd and 9. It's all right. At least it gets easier for Auburn going forward, right? Who do they have next?
I think it's Georgia.
And then after that?
I think it's Missouri.
Following?
Maybe at Kentucky. I'm sure the exact order.
On the end around, Isaiah Bond finds the edge, finds the end zone. Touchdown, Isaiah Bond on a 26-yard run. This is the version of the Texas offense that we did not see in the first half.
Part of that rhythm, part of that opportunity, part of that being able to utilize that physicality and lean on a defense that we know is light and thin coming into this week, Tom. And Sark continues to dial them up, whether it's play action, rollouts, misdirection, reverse.
Auburn on for the point after. See, not everything has been bad for Auburn folks today, because Bert Auburn remains perfect.
Volleyball had a big win last night.
There you go. Take pride in that. Texas ran for 10 yards in the first half. $187 in the second.
Gunnar Helm is extremely valuable to this Texas offense. Probably does not get a ton of love. Watch the redirect to come back and throw a nice block. Split zone, counters have been working all day. This time, whoop, comes back. There's the block, and Isaiah Bond puts that 22.2 speed on display, miles per hour that is, for the Texas touchdown.
Well, Steve Sarkisian told us that he didn't want to play Quinn Ewers today. They got a bye week coming up next week, and Arch looks a little ginger going to the sideline. Or are we looking too much into it?
No, he absolutely. And he pointed to the hip a little bit there as well. So Don't know if it's some kind of a strain, something else, but I do think it's important to point out what you did earlier in the broadcast is that Quinn Ewers could have played today. And I actually talked to Coach Sark at SEC Media Days about depth, and he said, we're going to play more guys early this year. It's going to be a longer season.
They even restructure their off-season workouts to take it easier on the guys in terms of how much time they spend on the field. And the expectation that as the #1 team in the country, or top 10 coming into the season, that they're going to be playing well after New Year's in the longest season any of these guys have ever experienced.
Any of us. It's the longest college football season ever. And so I think Sark understood we have a great team. We have a chance to make a run, but we need to start taking care of our guys now. He did that entering the season, and he's doing it now by not even having pads and a helmet on Quinn Ewers to potentially put him out there in this football game.
We were at practice yesterday. Arch took every snap at quarterback. Did not see Quinn Ewers throw a football. Still trying to work his way back from an oblique injury. A little bit low and incomplete. Under 3 minutes to go in this one. It is quite a benefit for Texas to be able to sit one of the top quarterbacks going into the draft and replace him with somebody as talented as Arch Manning, who's thrown for 324 yards and 26 completions today. Arch has 5 incompletions, a spin by Kevin Coleman, and he'll take it for a first down, and that includes a drop and a ball that was batted. By the way, a moment of appreciation for Kevin Coleman, who shocked the college football world when he's coming out of St. Mary's in St. Louis to sign with Jackson State. That's when Deion had just gotten the job. He was the SWAC Freshman of the Year with that loaded team. Shedeur Sanders at quarterback, Travis Hunter. And then went to Louisville, and we talked to him this week, and he said, you know, I've really learned to be patient in my progress because not everything runs according to plan. And that certainly is the case for his college career to this point. And it goes back to even the high school he attended, St. Mary's in the south side of St. Louis, near the Hill, famous Italian neighborhood. Kevin Coleman with the catch once again. St. Mary's is known for its baseball history. Yogi Berra, Joe Garagiola. They're not known for football. Coleman said, I went someplace no one expected me to, did the same thing at Jackson State. I'm trying to do the same thing at Mississippi State. Well, when it comes to Manning play action, sometimes it looks the same, and that's a good thing. His uncles made a living with the play action pass, and Arch's game looking very similar. Both Peyton and Eli. And to the point today, pressure, another strip sack for Texas. Colin Simmons. Well, he is a game record. Saturday MVP brought to you by Sport Clips. It's Arch Manning, who's only missed on 5 pass attempts in this game. 26 of 31 for 324 and 2 touchdowns. You know, the Mannings have a long history with Mississippi State. Of course, Grandpa Archie and Uncle Eli played in the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State every year. Well, except the year Archie was out with a broken arm. And they all struggled in their first appearance against Mississippi State, including Peyton's first coming off the bench for Todd Helton in a 24-21 loss in 1994. Peyton threw a pick. Mississippi State upset a ranked Tennessee team. Eli did not win this one. 3 picks in his first appearance against the Bulldogs. And let's see if Eli hits social media after this grab. A pump and go, and a deep ball out of the hands of Van Buren. He has struggled with the deep ball throughout, and that one falls incomplete, trying to find Craver.
Just bombed that one. That was Jeff Blake-like, straight up in the air from Van Buren. I still want to know, do we even think we have another family with 4 generations that have defeated one program?
That was your job. If you weren't too busy stuffing your face with cornbread last night, you could have done a little bit of research.
Probably right. I mean, Matthews was my only guess. I don't know who else we even throw out there.
kind of influence do linemen have in a game. 5-man rush. Van Buren taken down again. Another sack for this Texas defense. Barron Sorrell, the 6th sack of the game for the Horns.
Little twist on the right side of that offensive line. Vernon Broughton deserves a lot of the credit. Watch Big 45 go straight up, occupy 2 offensive linemen. There comes Sorrell back underneath to pick up the sack. He's gotten a little stronger in the offseason. Kept the weight around the same. I mean, versatility going to be key for him when you talk about the NFL draft. He could be a 3-4 defensive end. He can widen out, play the edge. He can hold up inside.
What about Texas's depth on that D-line?
I love it. And we all thought that was going to be a big problem this year. Bill Norton comes in from Arizona, has given him great reps. Alfred Collins has played well. Jermaine Lowell has given really nice reps. Vernon Broughton, we just mentioned. They think Alex January, the freshman, can give them a legacy player whose father played here some really nice reps inside as the season goes on. They're 5-6 deep at defensive tackle. And then different players who can help down there as well.
A'Shaun Shepard with the stop on Jarek Gibson. So if Arch is a little banged up, why is he still in the game?
He's not that banged up. Like we said earlier, toughness is not a question for him. And I don't believe you're going to be asking him to run the 40-yard dash here as the victory formation is out.
So the Longhorns will move to 5-0 on the season and hold on to this #1 ranking. It was a little bit tougher sledding in the first half than expected. It was only a 14-6 lead at the break, but Arch Manning throws for 324 and 2 touchdowns. And Steve Sarkisian's team gets another win as #1. (35-13) is our final score tonight. We are not done with football. South Al and LSU coming up next. For Cole Kublik and Alyssa Lang, on behalf of our fantastic crew here in Austin, I'm Tom Hart. Enjoy the rest of the college football. Now to the studio with Chris Doering and Benjamin Watson. Peter Burns.